of running backs. Wisconsin's John Clay and Iowa's Adam Robinson. Two tough runners, each averaging more than 100 yards per game. These defenses feature All-American candidates at defensive end. J.J. Watt was immense in the victory over the Buckeyes, while Adrian Claiborne is the leader of one of the stingiest rushing defenses in the country. On another wacky college football Saturday, which team will stay on track with an eye toward the Big Ten title?
They've been playing each other since 1898, and today at Kinnick Stadium, Wisconsin and Iowa meet again with so much on the line. The Badgers number 13 in the initial BCS standings, Iowa's 15th, and both teams have their eyes on the Big Ten Conference title. It's still relatively early in the conference schedule, but there are only two undefeated teams remaining in the Big Ten standings. Michigan State now 4-0 after their come-from-behind win earlier today. At Northwestern, Iowa's 2-0, Wisconsin 2-1. Their only loss at Michigan State. And the Spartans come here to Iowa next Saturday. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Matt Millen. We'll be joined by Heather Cox in just a moment. Delighted to have you with us for the annual battle for the Heartland Trophy. This is a border rivalry, and Wisconsin trying to go for back-to-back big wins. They had the win at home last Saturday against Ohio State, and we saw a typical Wisconsin performance, a powerful running game.
When it does, that big, powerful running game starts with a big, powerful running back in John Clay. Now, don't be deceived. Yes, he's big and powerful. He's got little guy feet. He can make you miss. And, oh, by the way, they have another guy who can help him as well. James White is a nice changeup, has great speed, can get to the outside. But all this is made possible by the offensive line. Like we said, they're big and powerful, and they're led by senior left offensive tackle Gabe Carini. What a matchup we're going to have today, Sean. You got one of the top defensive ends in all of college football, and Adrian Claiborne. We're going to have a fun time watching that one.
Might be the best offensive line in the country against the best defensive line in the country. Both Karimi and Claiborne projected as first-round picks in next year's NFL draft. And when Iowa's on offense, they lean heavily on the ground game. They're a little bit depleted because of injuries and departures from the roster at running back, but Adam Robinson is carrying his share of the load.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And Adam Robinson is one angry little dog. This guy is a stud bolt. He runs very well, has great vision, and stays behind a very, very well-disciplined offensive line that's very well coached. That should be a lot of fun. Now, if they have to throw, they can do that. They have an outstanding receiver on the outside, and Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, who can make big plays down the field. They got pretty good balance. This should be a humdinger.
Wisconsin and Iowa will have the opening kickoff from Iowa City right after this. We're back in Iowa City on a beautiful day, 69 degrees as we approach kickoff. The 86th meeting all time between these longtime rivals. And the rivalry about as even as it could be. A Wisconsin win today would even the all-time record. Iowa leads 42-41-2. They've won 6 of the last 8, including last year. A 20-10 win in Madison. David Gilreath back for the opening kickoff. Wisconsin won the toss and elected to receive. He started them on their way toward their upset win last week against Ohio State, when he brought back the opening kickoff, 97 yards for a touchdown. Michael Meyer kicks off. Wobbly squib kick, fielded on the bounce at the 9 by Gilreath, trying to go all the way across the field, and it's very well covered by Iowa, as Gilreath was chopped down near the 15-yard line by Don Schumpert. Let's go to Heather Cox.
Sean, Wisconsin's Brett Bielema not only played for Iowa, he also coached at Iowa. He's even got a Hawkeye tattoo on his calf. So no surprise when he entered the stadium, it was to a chorus of boos. He said once he gets the headset on, it's much easier. He can't hear all the heckling. Now, as for that Hawkeye tattoo that no one can stop talking about, Bielema has no shame saying, hey, it's part of who I am.
Deafening noise for his offense. Gilreath took the handoff as he came across the formation from left to right. And he's out of bounds after a 2-yard gain at the 16. Scott Tolzien, senior from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, is the starting quarterback for Wisconsin. Tremendously accurate, 71% for the season. And for his career, better than 66%. He is the all-time leader in completion percentage at the University of Wisconsin. 16-4 is the starting quarterback of the Badgers, Scott Tolzien. John Clay, the running back. And he has a big hole off the left side and a first down. Out to the 28-yard line, tackled by a linebacker, Tyler Nielsen. 12-yard gain. Clay will split time with James White, Nick Toon, their best receiver. Both he and Anderson banged up a bit during the week, limited practice time, and we'll see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Lance Kendricks, one of the best tight ends in the country, and that group arguably the best offensive line in the nation, led by the left side Karimi and Moffitt, and Peter Kahn's an emerging star at center. They like to run left. They just did with great impact. Play up the middle that time for 2, stopped by Christian Ballard, part of the Iowa front 4. That is very stout, a veteran group. The headliner is Claiborne. The coaches love Klug. 2 seniors and 2 juniors up front for Iowa. Nielsen, Johnson, and Jeremiah Hunter, who's their leading tackler, are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Prater, Sash, Greenwood, and Hyde. Again, a veteran group. Outstanding safeties in Sash and Greenwood. Play again, running left. Spun back at the 34-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
Sean, you said it for the first 3 plays. They're going to run left. They have an outstanding offensive line, and they are physical. But the strength of this offensive line is on that left side. Moffitt, the guard, 74, is very good, and Karimi, the left tackle, as well. Cons, you mentioned about the center. They are going to start left, right, and go left, but inevitably, their bread and butter is coming off that left side.
James White in at running back. He's a better receiver than Clay. Under pressure, Tolzien, pump fake, and a bullet for a first down to the 49-yard line to Lance Kendricks. 15-yard completion to Kendricks. We mentioned one of the best tight ends in the country. He's their leading receiver, his 26th catch of the year.
And he is not only a receiving tight end, this guy's complete. That's what I liked about him. He runs good routes. He used to be a wide receiver. Now you're going to get this ball off. You're going to have to get Claiborne blocked. And Karimi got his hands on him, pushed him past.
First and 10, Wisconsin. A play-action pass for Tolzien. Dumps it off short for Kendricks. Another good gainer to the Iowa 39-yard line, where he's chopped down by Tyler Sash. 12 more yards and another first down for the Badgers.
You mentioned about Scott Tolzien and the high percentage, and he makes smart throws, which means he makes good decisions. The game has slowed down for him. He understands the offense, knows where he has to go with the football, and makes very good decisions, so he's not going to take a chance.
Best pass efficiency mark in school history, most accurate passer, as we mentioned, in the history of Wisconsin football. Hands it off to the true freshman James White out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He slid ahead for 3. Carl Klug made the tackle for the Hawkeyes.
You know, as we were watching film and getting ready for this James White kept on popping up, and why he does is he is a excellent changeup for this offense. He's quick as a hiccup. He can get in and out of holes. He can change direction very well, and he can get to the corner with speed.
And a terrific 1-2 punch, both averaging 80 yards or more per game. White and Clay. The toss to White. Walker's out in front. And he's near another first down, just shy of the 30-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and a yard. Christian Ballard made the tackle for Iowa, 6-yard gain.
At the start of the show, we talked about Adrian Claiborne, the right defensive end and one of the premier defensive ends in the NCAA. And this is an excellent matchup. And what separates Claiborne has very good awareness. A lot of times you see they try to block down on him. He spun out of that to get back inside, but he can disengage, Sean, and his next 2 steps after disengaging is where he's special.
Coach Barrett says he has rare explosiveness in his lower body, Adrian Claiborne. 3rd down and a yard. White got the first down before he was driven back. How much faith they have in White. In all situations, you'd expect the powerful Clay at 250 pounds in there on 3rd and short, but they gave it to White, who weighs about 195 pounds, and he got the first down.
Because they're all going to the same spot. They start right, they try to get the defensive flow, and then they come back to that left side where their strength and their agility is. That left side is a pretty agile group of offensive linemen.
10th play of the drive. They've had it for 5 minutes to open the game. White inside the 25, down to the 24-yard line. Tyler Sash made another tackle.
You know, Sean, Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, is not here today for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but when you watch this defense, it hasn't changed. His imprint's all over it, and you can see exactly what they're trying to do. And the one thing they try to do is try to play that front without committing a safety down. There's Phil Parker, who's taken over the play calling duties.
Although they don't publicly acknowledge that, because Kirk Ferentz doesn't want somebody taking heat if it doesn't go well, and it's not going well for them right now, not for the Iowa defense or the umpire, as John Clay got the first down, was tackled by Jeremiah Hunter, and then collided with the umpire as part of a 7-yard gain. Jim Shaw, pretty good hit on the play with the umpire position.
He needs a little string for his hat. That's about it. That he's got to stick his face in there. But again, just physical offensive line play. And this Wisconsin offensive line picking up exactly where it left off a week ago against Ohio State.
An offensive line that averages 6'5 and a half, 320 pounds. They will pound on you. John Clay took it down to the 14 for a gain of 3. Troy Johnson and Tyler Sash made the tackles. And they have been an extraordinarily good red zone team. If you don't count into the game kneel down, Redfield and his team has scored a touchdown in the last 23 trips inside the red zone. For the year, they scored touchdowns in the red zone 81% of the time, second in the country behind only South Carolina. Whoops, Tolzien ran into John Clay. He bounced off that hit. Bounced off a couple of Iowa defenders, and he's very near another first down inside the 10-yard line. The safety Brett Greenwood made the tackle. 6-yard gain. They're going to mark him short of the first down by a yard.
This is a good example of what else John Clay has, because so often you see the 250 pounds and the big thick thighs and the guy rumbling through, but he's got little guy feet, like I mentioned at the top, and he can get to the edge if he has to. He's not going to make this money out there. It's going to be inside, but he can do it.
He is 34 yards rushing on this opening drive. They've covered 78 yards. Another third down. They're 2 for 2 on third down in this possession. On 3rd and 1, James White in trouble. Taylor Sash. Tyler Sash pulls him down. Back at the 16-yard line. Well, they bet, but the Iowa defense did not break. An 8-yard loss on a terrific play by the junior safety, Tyler Sash.
And what Sash did, fundamental. Read his key, saw the block down, and then replaced and came up. And when White tried to bounce it, he ran him down.
Philip Welch, 8 out of 10 this year. This will be a try of 33 yards from the right hash mark. Ryan Wickesburg, the holder. And it is good. Welch, one of the best kickers in Wisconsin history, has the Badgers on the board.
Live inside this day.
Impressive drive by Wisconsin. Ends with 3 points. They held the ball for 8 minutes and 9 seconds. 15 plays, 12 rushes, 2 passes, and the field goal. Welch, the kick from 33 yards to get the Badgers first on the board. Trying to beat ranked opponents in back-to-back weeks for the first time since 2004. In October of 2004, they beat Ohio State and Purdue, both ranked teams, in consecutive weeks. Trying to take down Iowa, or rather Ohio State and then Iowa back-to-back in this season. Welch kicks off. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos hesitated for a moment, then decided to bring it out. And he reached the 22-yard line. Antonio Finellis made the tackle. Iowa on offense right after this.
begins college football on ABC. Brought to you by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Travelers, insurance for auto, home, and business.
Last night, the Iowa and Wisconsin football managers competed in an annual tradition, an 8-man flag football game for the Rusty Toolbox. A tradition that began in 1991. The managers go head-to-head whenever their two football teams meet. They played last night about 10:30 in the Iowa indoor facility. The Badgers won for the second year in a row. Won 19-13 last night. Joe McKillop, one of their managers, scored the winning touchdown. Iowa had won 5 in a row before Wisconsin won the last 2. And they'll have the toolbox for a couple of years, because these two teams with the Big Ten expansion will not play each other in the next 2 years. One of the negatives of Big Ten expansion. Iowa's first play, a completed pass. Ricky Stanzi to Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. An 8-yard gain. Stanzi, senior quarterback, like Scott Tolzien, very accurate, 68.5% for the year. And like Scott Tolzien, a winner. 23-5, his career record as Iowa's starting quarterback. They have a 14-mile-per-hour wind at their backs here in the first quarter. Adam Robinson stuttered step, and he got a yard. They'll need another yard for a first down. Culmer St. Jean, a linebacker, made the tackle. Robinson, the featured back, and they have very little depth behind him. Morris, an excellent blocker. Johnson-Koulianos, one of the best wide receivers in school history. With McNutt, Reisner, and up front, Reif, Vandervelde, Ferentz, Geddes, and Zuzovics. James Ferentz, the center, the son of the head coach Kirk Ferentz. Rhett Morse, the fullback, with his first carry of the year for a first down. Ethan Heamer made the tackle, and it's a 6-yard gain for the Hawkeyes.
You mentioned about Rhett Morris and his tough blocking, and that's what he is. I mean, that's his role, and he loves it, and they love him. He's a physical kid. He knows what he's doing, never makes mistakes. And oh, by the way, if you need to get a tough yard like right there, he'll do it.
He didn't play last week, had a bad back, sat out their 10-point win at Michigan last Saturday. Quick throw, Stanzi to Marvin McNutt, and he's pulled down by Niles Brinkley at the 43-yard line. That's a 6-yard gain. For Wisconsin on defense, J.J. Watt, the headliner, and Zegwu the other end, Buttram and Heaver, who is starting for Jordan Cahoot, in the middle. Sorensen, coming off the best game of his career last week, is their leading tackler for the year. Brinkley, Valai, Henry, and Finelis. The secondary for Wisconsin, very solid unit, 23rd in the country in total defense. Adam Robinson on second down and 3. 1 yard short of the first down. Here's Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. And here it's 3-0 Wisconsin. Iowa another third down and short on its first drive of the game. Robinson, first down across midfield. Flag down as Niles Brinkley tackled him with help from Jay Valai. You mentioned he's not the biggest guy, Matt, but Adam Robinson is very tough and hard to tackle, and they had a hard time getting him on the ground, and there was a flag thrown at the end of the run for a face mask against the Badgers. 15 more. Bill Lamagnier, the veteran referee, leading this outstanding Big Ten officiating crew.
Sean, you and I had a chance the other day to sit down with Adam Robinson. What a great kid. A nice smile on his face and tough kid. But when I asked him about, you know, how big are you? What's your size? What do you weigh? He was like, 200. he kind of mumbled out the 200, but I don't know what he weighs, but his heart is worth every pound, because this is one tough kid.
But 81 carries in their previous 3 games. Big hole there. Turns the corner inside the 5. And down inside the 2-yard line.
Well blocked on the left side, and they're able to get outside. Watch Morse. There's the hit. And then back inside, they turn the corner. Great. Ooh, almost looked like he stepped out of bounds there, Sean. See if he steps out of bounds down here a little. Can't quite see that one.
30-yard gain.
Yeah, they're gonna stop. Looks like he's gonna bring it back.
Apparently Bill Lamagne's microphone is not working, but they are going to review it, see if he stepped out prior to the 1-yard line. Dick Honig is the replay official. That's where it looked like he might have, near the 9-yard line.
Yeah, there it is. That looks like the left side of his foot is on the white.
It has to be conclusive. It does look like the edge of his foot was out of bounds there between the 9 and the 8-yard line.
Great awareness though at the end of that play to know where the end zone is. You know the defender has the angle, and you can see the foot right there. And then so he just launches himself.
When the season started, Iowa thought it had an embarrassment of riches at the tailback position. They had Jules Hampton, a talented runner, sat out all of last year with a knee injury. Well, he wound up injuring himself again in week 3, their only loss of this season at Arizona. Brandon Wager, who had an outstanding freshman year last year, rushed for more than 600 yards, left the team after a couple of practices in fall camp for personal reasons. He's still in school here at Iowa, but not a part of the football program. And then Marcus Coker, another freshman, true freshman. They had designs on playing a lot. Broke his collarbone, missed 5 games, but it's really just Coker now, very inexperienced, as the backup to Robinson. So they need to keep Robinson healthy, and limiting the wear and tear on Robinson is a factor for Coach Ferentz. If you're a lip reader, you know what Bill Lamagne just said. They're told from the replay booth it was not definitive, so they're going to leave the ball at the 1-yard line. Kirk Ferentz in his 12th season as head coach at Iowa. Power formation here for the Hawkeyes. Robinson stopped at the line of scrimmage. Henry up from the secondary. And Kevin Claxton, a reserve linebacker junior from Fort Lauderdale, with a nice play.
You know, when we sat and spoke with Robinson, and we asked him, Sean, about, you know, having to carry the load and how much is too much for you. Is, you know, 30 carries or 40 carries, whatever it is. He said, you know, I don't really know what the number is. All I know is by Tuesday I'm still tired, and Wednesday I'm ready to go.
They don't hit him during the week now. They keep a red jersey on him in practice. Robinson again, touchdown Iowa.
He ran right through the tackle of Jay Vallee. And Vallee had a chance to stop him, Vallee rather, on the goal line, had a chance to stop him, but he just lowered his pads and ran right through the tackle.
Well, the true freshman walk-on kicker Mike Meyer for the extra point. And it is no good. Looked like J.J. Watt deflected it at the line of scrimmage. That's the first PAT missed by Meyer this year. He was 14 for 14. A 1-yard run for Robinson, capping a 78-yard drive for Iowa. Defensive coordinator Ken O'Keefe pushing the right buttons on that opening drive for Iowa. As the Hawkeyes score in their first possession, answering the field goal on the first possession of the game by Wisconsin. 9 plays, 7 of them runs to cover the 78 yards for Iowa. David Gilreath back for the kickoff from Mike Myers. Nearly 2,700 career kickoff return yards for Gilreath. He's the Big Ten all-time leader. And this is a good return. Finally spun down as he crossed the 40-yard line. 33-yard run back. And here's a look at today's Chick-fil-A drive recap. Colzine was 2 for 2 on the Wisconsin drive, and Stanzi got them started early. He was 2 for 2 on the touchdown drive by Iowa. But then they leaned heavily on the ground game. The biggest play of the drive, the 30-yard run down to the one by Adam Robinson. And he punched it in. His 9th rushing touchdown of the season. There's an injured Wisconsin Badger on the field, and it's Lance Kendricks, their star tight end. They've had a number of terrific tight ends in recent years, and Brett Bielema had told us this week that Kendricks, the senior from Milwaukee, is the best tight end they've had. They have 3 tight ends in the NFL right now. Bielema out on the field to check on Kendricks.
Oh, it looks like somebody ran into the back of his knee. And, you know, Sean, I always get skeptical with tight ends. When I hear guys start talking about the, look at this right here, you can see it right there. But this kid, you know, I always go right to the tape, because one thing I learned a long time ago, players, they may stretch the truth a tad, and coaches, they may stretch the truth a tad, but the tape never lies, ever. And when I put the tape on, I was really impressed with this kid, as he is not afraid to stick his face in and be physical. He runs pretty good routes. He runs well. This kid's got a bright future.
When we talked to some of the Iowa defenders, Tyler Sash, Tyler Nielsen, they said the same thing first about Kendricks. He is a physical blocker. Beyond his obvious pass-catching skills, the former wide receiver. John Clay, the running back, on first down for the Badgers. And he is smothered to the line of scrimmage. Excellent penetration by Carl Klug, the senior from Caledonia, Minnesota, just across the Iowa-Minnesota border.
When they talk about Iowa defense, you talk about Claiborne, but the guy who shows up a lot is 95 Carl Klug. He is strong, he's tough, he plays with great leverage, not a real big guy, 265, 270, right around in there. He plays low all the time, plays with hands well. Technically, he should have wrestled. He's outstanding.
The typical Iowa player was 208 pounds when he came here from a small town in Minnesota. They beat them up to 270 in Chris Doyle's weight room. Colzine, a good pass and a catch at the midfield stripe. Isaac Anderson, the reception, good for a 9-yard gain for the senior from Minneapolis.
John, you mentioned earlier about Toon, but Anderson and Toon both. Now they're given a big cushion. He takes advantage of it, but the ball's where it has to be, down and low outside. Anderson and Toon, both these guys, they know how to come back to the football, and they'll use their bodies well.
He came up just shy of the first down, 3rd down and inches with John Clay lined up in the eye behind the fullback Brady Ewing. Clay running left as they so often do, especially when it matters most, and he got the first down before he got whacked by Troy Johnson.
You know, it's interesting, and you mentioned it about the size of this offensive line. They average 320, 320,
6'5" and a half, 320.
And this defensive line of Iowa is not very big. I mean, the inside guys are, you can take a good look at their weights across the board, but the Iowa defensive guys, not real big on the inside. In fact, Claiborne is the biggest guy at 285.
Wisconsin O-line, big and experienced, 120 combined career starts. Colzine, play action fake, has a man open, caught. Jacob Pedersen, the backup tight end, in there for Kendricks. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line with another first down. Tyler Sash, the coverage and the tackle, 18 yards on the completion of Pedersen, a redshirt freshman.
You have to be impressed with Tolzien because he knows exactly where he has to go with the ball right away. You see that little fake to just move the backer and make him bite up underneath coverage, and the ball is thrown exactly where it has to be.
How fast did that first quarter go by? Iowa had the ball once, and this is the second possession of the game for Wisconsin. Ball control offenses on display, mirror images, and it's 6-3 Hawkeyes after one. Stadium, where the Iowa Hawkeyes are 16-2 since the start of the 2008 season. They lead Wisconsin 6-3 after one fast-moving quarter. Wisconsin's on the move again. 1st and 10 at the Iowa 30. Wisconsin had the ball for more than 10 minutes in the first quarter. Tolzien a lot of time, dumps it off short. Jake Byrne, the junior from Rogers, Arkansas, with his first career catch in 32 career games.
He's on a roll.
Yes, he is. Let's look at our Pacific Life game summary. Iowa had just one drive for those 63 yards. Wisconsin, in the middle of its second possession, they have control of the clock. The quarterback has missed on a pass. Tolzien now 5 for 5. James White, the running back. Again running left. Knocked down after a 1-yard gain. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Guys, Wisconsin's tight end Lance Kendricks has a right ankle sprain. Lots of grimacing as he retaped that ankle, trying to keep the swelling down. They actually taped it over the shoe so they didn't have to take off the original tape job. Now, I heard him telling head athletic trainer Gary Johnson that he rolled it to the outside. He's been testing it on the ground. Now he's on the bike trying to keep it warm. He's going to see if he's strong enough to return to the game, guys.
Bill Nagy has come into the ball game. He's ordinarily a guard and center, but he's wearing 89 and is a tight end right now, trying to block the play to no avail. On 1st and 10, he got dropped for a loss. Christian Ballard broke through that talented offensive line.
And the one spot that they are talking about Wisconsin are trying to get to is they're trying to get to this left side. And if you're going to be successful on this, and you're the left defensive end, you've got to play the point. And that's exactly what Claiborne did. He stuffed them at the line of scrimmage so they could allow the defense to play off his point. Ballard makes the play to the inside.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Swung wide to White, and he's tripped up by Micah Hyde, and then a flag comes down. Hyde, the sophomore corner from Fostoria, Ohio. And White is not getting up. Right out of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Elam has had success recruiting there. They typically have an outstanding high school football program.
Question has been deemed legal. No foul.
I looked on, I believe it would have been Karimi who made a block, trying to make the block. And Adrian Claiborne saw that play, and they left him go, and he came back and hustling to the ball. It looks like, oh, that just looks ugly.
Ooh.
I don't think legs were meant to bend that way. You know, a week ago, Sean, I was watching Adrian Claiborne against a good offensive time. They were going after it pretty good. And Adrian Claiborne, in the middle of the game, got a little tired. It was against Michigan. And Taylor Lewan was just a freshman. And he was getting, and with the pace of the game, he got tired and they pulled him. And talking to him just the other day, he wasn't thrilled with that. He's come out here today. He's playing with a big motor.
Monty Ball didn't play at all last week against Ohio State and is in at running back now for Wisconsin. Shuttled to him by Tolzien. Terrific call and a 1st down.
Great call by Paul Chryst, the offensive coordinator, and Tolzien plays it to perfection. You want him to bite right there. You're drawing the defender to you to open that inside lane. He pitches it back underneath, and he's off to a 1st down.
And Kendricks enjoyed it as he tries to get that ankle loose. 14 yards on the reception by Monty Ball, sophomore. Here's the 10th play of this drive for Wisconsin. Marched into the red zone on their 1st drive, got stopped now to settle for a field goal.
Wide open.
Tolzien, after a great fake, throws a touchdown pass to Brady Ewing, the fullback.
2 outstanding calls back-to-back by Paul Chryst, the offensive coordinator. You've been pounding. You get inside that red zone, so you give him the play action. Everything looks the same. You just slip the fullback out into the flat, and it's 6 quick.
And Philip Welch will attempt the extra point. 10-play, 59-yard drive. The kick is good, and Wisconsin's back on top. That's the 2nd touchdown reception of the year. The fullback Brady Ewing. 10-6 Badgers, early 2nd quarter. Tonight on ABC, Saturday Night Football features a battle between two undefeated teams. The top-ranked Oklahoma Sooners head to Columbia to take on the 11th-ranked Missouri Tigers. Tonight, Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines at 8 Eastern on ABC. Oklahoma, #1 in the initial BCS standings, out earlier this week. They have won 7 in a row against the Missouri Tigers.
And defensive coordinator Dave Steckel for those Missouri Tigers had a couple sleepless nights this week. I can guarantee you that, because that team has talent. They have speed.
Philip Welch kicks off. Good kick with the wind at his back, and no chance for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos to run it out. Let's take a look at today's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, we've talked about it being a good play. Here's the reason why it is a good play. They've been pounding inside, so now they're going to come with run action, and it gives you the same exact look in here, and it forces you to try to make a play as a defender in the secondary. You run right past the intended receiver. Ewing's in for 6.
There's Paul Chryst.
Unnecessary play. Number 50.
Against Iowa. Paul Chryst, year in and year out. You think of them as a power running team, but you look at the numbers at the end of the year, they're 200 yards plus passing per game and 200 yards rushing per game. That was the case last year. It is again this year. Led the country in time of possession. I think he's as good an offensive coordinator as there is in the country, and I'm trying to figure out why he hasn't been a head coach yet, because he's a terrific guy to boot.
Yeah, he'll get his shot, and good bloodlines too. Good bloodline. That's a good football family.
Brother Jeep, longtime NFL assistant. Brother Rick, formerly the commissioner of the Mid-American Conference. Well, after the penalty, they start from the 10 to the Hawkeyes. Stanzi's in trouble. Finds Brett Morse, who runs across the 20 and has a first down. He was run down from behind by J.J. Watt, but that's good for a 12-yard gain.
It's a good job of drawing the defense in. And Watt, he gets his hands up, but he finds Morse out in the flat. And so it's just, they're giving you the levels. And if the upper level's taken, they dump it off underneath. And so it's good decisions by Stanzi.
Still has not been an incomplete pass in this game. Stanzi's going to put that streak on the line. You knew that was going to happen. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, the intended receiver, and he was well covered. Primary coverage by Antonio Finellis with help from the safety, Aaron Henry.
We talked about the offensive line of Wisconsin and how well coached they are, but you know, the same superlatives can be used for the offensive line of Iowa. And it's a younger group, not as experienced, but sometimes you watch them, they look so choreographed, looks like a dance troupe.
Reese Morgan, longtime offensive line coach, does a terrific job with the Iowa offensive line. Kirk Ferentz himself, a former line coach. Adam Robinson, the ball carrier. And continuity in coaching has a lot to do with that too. Reese Morgan's been on the staff almost the entire time that Kirk Ferentz has been the head coach at Iowa. He's had the same 2 coordinators, Ken O'Keefe on offense, Norm Parker on defense for his entire 12-year stint. He's had the same strength and conditioning coach, Chris Doyle. Phil Parker and Eric Johnson have been on the staff all 12 years. That's a formula for winning, especially when they're good coaches, and those guys are. Stanzi given all day to throw on 3rd down and long, had a man wide open, and Paul Chaney couldn't make the catch. The throw is higher than it should have been, and Chaney stands only 5'9", couldn't get up to get it, and he was wide open beyond the 1st down marker.
And he had lots of time to throw. Look at the protection for Stanzi, and he's looking to his left hard. He's looking for Johnson-Koulianos, can't find him, finds the open man. That should have been caught.
Here's the first punt of the game by Ryan Donahue, senior from Evergreen Park, Illinois, and the dangerous David Gilreath back deep. Good punt, fair catch signaled by Gilreath, and he made it at the 27-yard line. 49-yard punt with no return. Coming up, Matt's been milling around again. He's ready to take it to the mat and discuss what the Iowa football team and the storied Hawkeye wrestling program have in common.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Lexus. This is the pursuit of tomorrow. This is the pursuit of perfection. Aflac. Visit aflac.com for an agent or quote. And AT&T. Rethink possible.
Back in Iowa City, home of one of the most storied programs in any sport, the NCAA, the Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling Program. 23 national championships, including the last 3. They'll begin their quest for a 4th in a row, and their season begins in mid-November. Beautiful late October day here with the temperature near 70 degrees. Wisconsin the ball and the lead for Scott Tolzien. They're up 10-6. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 27. Tolzien hasn't missed yet. John Clay is the tailback behind Brady Ewing. Play action fake to Clay. Tolzien to the far side of the field, and it is incomplete. Should have been caught, but was not by Isaac Anderson.
Well, he had Anderson wide open, and Tolzien's tried to be a double move, but it's a good job of staying with the coverage. That ball's got to be caught. It's 2 weeks in a row we've seen balls being dropped, but Anderson's a better player than that.
Senior from Minneapolis had limited practice time this week because of an ankle injury. We haven't seen anything yet from Nick Toon. Missed 3 games earlier this year with turf toe, then suffered a deep thigh bruise last week against Ohio State, and he had limited practice time during the week. 2nd and 10. Clay. And Adrian Claiborne. 4-yard gain. So it's this week's installment of Milling Around. And there's nothing you enjoy talking about more than wrestling. We talked a lot about the comparisons between Wisconsin and Iowa football teams, but there's some comparisons between the Iowa football and wrestling teams.
When you watch this team, they're very similar. You know, in wrestling, there's an old saying, wrestle in the middle of the mat. And that's what this Iowa football team does. They don't wrestle the edges. They stay right in the middle. No tricks. They make you come right to them. They're physical. They're tough. It's the same thing as Tom Brand's wrestling team. And they're a tremendous wrestling group.
Tremendous noise now from this Iowa crowd. 3rd down and 6. Tolzien pressured and lost the football. Knocked out by Christian Ballard. Wisconsin got it back, but it's a loss on the play back to the 17-yard line. And they will have to punt. Gabe Karimi fell on it. 14-yard loss.
The reason he falls on it is because Claiborne gets there first. And he's the one who swipes it, and then Ballard hits him. So he gets around Karimi with that great steps after separation that we talked about. Karimi has the wherewithal to be able to come back and fall in that thing.
Well, Brad Nortman will punt, averaging 43 yards per punt this season. He has the wind at his back, and he bombs one. Colin Sandeman back inside the 30, and great coverage as well by Wisconsin. 54-yard punt and no return. Shelton Johnson down there for the Badgers. Their special teams were problematic earlier in the year, but not the last couple of weeks. Let's check in with Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. All right, Robert, 1st and 10, Iowa. Ball spotted at the 28-yard line. Wisconsin leads 10-6. Robinson, nice spin move behind the line of scrimmage. Looked like a loss. Instead, it's an 11-yard gain and a 1st down. Blake Sorensen made the tackle for Wisconsin.
Well, he uses that defender against himself. We're going to watch this right here. He has a chance to hit him, and because he does the spin move right in the inside, there's a void where he came with the vertical separation. Robinson took advantage of it. Watch, right back up inside where the defender got through.
56 yards rushing for Robinson. He averages 104 per game, 4th in the Big Ten and 20th in the country. Straight back, Ricky Stanzi. Again, a lot of time to throw. Again, a man open. And it is on the ground and ruled incomplete. Intended for Brad Herman, the backup tight end, and Jay Valai knocked it out.
And it's the proper ruling on the field. Valai makes the hit. He never really has control, but Valai is right there on top of him. A good read by Valai. And again, Sean, there is no pressure whatsoever on the Iowa thrower. Nobody at all. This is a good job of pass protection. Stanzi has all kinds of time.
Valai not real popular here in Iowa. He committed to Iowa for a couple of months out of high school and then decommitted and went to Wisconsin. He hears it from these fans when he comes here. Robinson, an 8-yard gain. That'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Ethan Hemer made the tackle. He's in for the injured Jordan Cahoot, who will not play today with an ankle injury for Wisconsin.
Valai had himself a free shot. He was the free hitter right in the lane where you want the guy to be. And Robinson made a miss with another spin move and picked up more yards and sets up this 3rd and short.
Brett Morse, the fullback, offset for Robinson on 3rd down and 2. Badgers crowding the line of scrimmage. Great push by that offensive line, and Robinson gets the 1st down. To the 45-yard line of Wisconsin. An 8-yard gain on 3rd down and 2. Now's Brinkley to stop.
Watch how that line moves. They just push the defensive line, the entire defensive line of Wisconsin backwards, and gave Robinson room to choose. And when you have that as a runner, you're going to pick up some chunks.
Under 7 minutes to go, 1st half, 10-6 Wisconsin. Movement at the left end of the line. Reisner, the tight end, move, but
he was going to motion.
The Hawkeyes are saying this should be against Wisconsin. Bill Lamagnier is our referee, and his mic is working now.
That should go against J.J. Watt.
Offside. Defense, 99. Across the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty.
Reisner, 82. He can come back and set, which is what he's going to do. He's going to come back and he's going to set. See, it was going to be a shift, and then he was probably going to go in motion. J.J. Watt, with his intensity, he's ready to move off of anything else that moved. Here he goes.
Wisconsin, the least penalized team in the country in terms of number of penalties, fewer than 3.3 per game. Stanzi wants a deep ball, has a man behind the defense. It's caught by Marvin McNutt, but out of bounds. Niles Brinkley had the coverage, and that was not a great throw by Stanzi.
And you have to watch what McNutt is doing also, because watch McNutt. Okay, no, actually that's not a bad route. He needs to keep the defender on his inside shoulder, but he needs to give the quarterback some room to throw on his outside. Usually stay about 4 yards in off the sideline. Looks like the ball took him out.
Well, he had to slow down because the ball was underthrown. He was behind the defender, but the throw was short. Stanzi started out 3 for 3, now 0 for his last 4. On 2nd and 5. Again, plenty of time. Throws it in the flat for Johnson Koulianos. Down to the 20. And fights his way to the 19. Blake Sorensen made the tackle for Wisconsin. 21 yards, first down Hawkeyes.
Darrell Johnson Koulianos loves to run his crossing routes. And Iowa loves to send him under. Now, when you do that, keep in mind, that takes a lot of time to develop. So you have to have good protection. But Koulianos is a strong runner and a strong kid. Kid benches over 400 pounds, Sean.
Last week he went past Tim Dwight to become their all-time leader in receiving yards. He needs 5 catches today to tie Kevin Casper for all-time receptions lead at Iowa. Robinson, a 2-yard gain. Kevin Claxton, who's seeing a lot of time at linebacker today, ordinarily backup, but with Mike Taylor bothered by a sore knee and ankle. It's Claxton getting most of the action today, a junior from Fort Lauderdale.
What impresses me the most when watching both these teams, both coaching staffs have confidence in what they do. They know who they are, and they don't try to fake anything. We're going to run the football, play action. We're not going to ask our guys to do anything they can't do.
Stanzi, quick drop and throw. Johnson Koulianos lunges forward, and it's going to be very close to that first down line. Niles Brinkley made the tackle.
Just going outside, and Brinkley's giving him a cushion. He's got to be careful. Like I said, that's a strong. Koulianos is a strong runner. He's got a powerful build on him.
Bill Lamagna looked at it a long time, then decided to bring out the chains here so they'll measure.
Sean, how about we said, hey, we'd like to talk to your guy, Darrell Johnson Koulianos, and he came back with, thank you, but no thank you. Things are going very well for me right now. Let's leave it at that.
Well, a while back, Coach Ferentz made him off limits to the media because DJK, as they call him around here, can be a little loose with some of the things that he says in a very engaging and interesting sort of way. A very likable young man. But then they lifted the ban. The DJK says, you know what, things are going well. I think I'll just keep my words to myself, let my play speak for itself. I think Coach Ferentz likes that maturity.
Yeah, and then, I saw him in the hallway yesterday, and he got a big old, what a great personality. Kind of one of those guys who lights up the room. And if you leave him alone and just give him just single coverage, he'll light up that corner too.
3rd and inches. And movement. And it's a false start.
False start. 27 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Another way they mirror each other. Iowa is not penalized very frequently either. Just 5 penalties per game for 40 yards. Here's Heather.
As the injuries continuing to stack up for Wisconsin. Now defensive tackle Bo Allen in the locker room with a leg contusion, will not be back this half. And offense, the last series, Wisconsin without 2 starters, James White and Lance Kendricks. James White going to try to give it a go on the next series. Lance Kendricks still questionable.
Instead of 3rd and inches, 3rd down and 5+. And a flag down. I think Iowa was illegally in motion. And it might wipe out that first down throw to Johnson Koulianos, who got past the marker. It looked like Marvin McNutt was moving awkwardly on the near side of the field in motion. Well, very uncharacteristic of either one of these two teams. Penalties that really hurt, and Kirk Ferentz is making a note of it.
Illegal motion, number 7, offense. 5-yard penalty, previous spot. Still 3rd down.
McNutt is in the slot stacked, and you're going to watch him. He's going to go inside, and he kind of just hesitates right there.
Yep. Started forward.
Yep. Koulianos outside by himself. Looks like he got a little matchup outside man. See what happens.
5 receivers spread the formation. They spread the tight end Reisner wide to the right. No backs for Stanzi. On third down and just over 10. Throws to McNutt and can't run after the catch. He slipped down as he tried to get away from Antonio Finelis. And the field goal unit will come on after a 7-yard gain that brings them up 3 yards short of the first down. And their kicking situation is a little bit shaky. Mike Myers already had an extra point block today. Randall Schultz is the snapper and the punter, Donahue the holder. Myers attempted only 4 this year. They made a big one to cement their win last week at Michigan. He's 3 out of 4 with a long of 30. And this is a 31-yard try. It would be his longest. With a high snap. And that ball is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Donahue bobbled it, and they never did kick it. He got knocked down near the line of scrimmage.
That's a poor snap. And he tried to make something out of nothing.
Coach Barron's looking up to see the same replay you're looking at. Trouble with the hold, so Donahue picked it up and got level. Take a look at today's athletic trivia question. Never like to interrupt the duck. What is the lowest team has been ranked in the initial BCS standings and gone on to reach the BCS National Championship game. It's topical this week because the first BCS standings came out last weekend with Oklahoma #1. These two teams are ranked 13th and 15th, Wisconsin and Iowa respectively, in the initial BCS standings. David Gilreath. Good run. 12-yard gain and a first down. We head to New York. Robert Flores, the Sprint Sports Center right now update. Sets up a big game here next week for Michigan State at Iowa. Here's John Clay with a flag down. He's tackled at the 34. Pickup of 5 if it stands. Jeremiah Hunter made the stop for Iowa.
Looked like Carl Klug was tackled at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 68 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeats first down.
Gabe Karimi, the Giant left tackle, 6'7", 327, making his 44th career start, guilty of the hold.
You see Karimi, number 68, right in here, and Klug is 95 down inside. That was, wow, I guess you could call that a hold.
Or a takedown on that wrestling mat you were talking about earlier. On first and long, Stanzi's pass batted down the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete.
You know, Sean, as long as I can remember with the Wisconsin Badgers, they always have good offensive lines. They're always well coached. They're big physical groups. They're smart players. They're guys at the next level that have great success. And I think this group is no exception. We've talked about Karimi, but I really like Kahns in the middle of the center, and Moffitt, that left guard, is pretty good also. And the right side is coming along just fine, thank you.
Second and 20, Wisconsin. And Tolzien threw it away. Had nowhere to throw it. Was trying to set up a screen to Monty Ball, and Adrian Claiborne was in hot pursuit of the Wisconsin quarterback.
They got a push inside first from Klug, and then off the edge, here he comes. And right from the tackle, from the edge of the tackle, Sean, that's where he really excels. That's those 3 steps I was talking about. Some guys they can kick it up a notch right there. He's one of them.
Time a factor in this fast-moving half. Third down and 20. We'll see how Wisconsin plays it on their own 19-yard line. Both teams have all 3 timeouts left in the half. Tolzien, they shove it again, and that time they were ready for Monty Ball. Worked well the first time, but they didn't fool Adrian Claiborne that time.
He was waiting on it, Sean. He was waiting on it. As soon as he saw Tolzien, he just set his feet, kind of baited him a little bit, wanted it to go inside, then collapsed and made the play.
And Iowa's called a timeout to stop the clock with 2:01 left in the first half. It's not noticeably cloudier here in Iowa City with some rain this morning. The chance of more here this afternoon. Nice play by Claiborne. The punt after this. Adrian Claiborne in the Iowa defense, a forced a Wisconsin punt with 2:03 to go in the first half. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox here in Iowa City. Brad Nortman on the punt for the Badgers on 4th down and 19. Second punt of the day for Nortman, who bombed a 54-yarder without a return by Colin Sandeman last time. This is a low, wobbly kick fielded by Sandeman at the 39. And a good return made the first man miss, crossed midfield, 12 yards on the run back of a 42-yard punt. Brady Ewing the tackle. Here's the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. We wanted to know the lowest team has ever been ranked in the initial BCS standings and then gone on from that point to reach the BCS National Championship game. The answer is 12th. LSU was number 12 in the first BCS standings in 2003, went on to win the national title. These two teams have an interest in that because right now they're both just outside the top 12. The handoff to Paul Cheney. He's also a track athlete. And Iowa flags down. Everybody in the stands saw it. It's going to be a face mask against Lewis Nzegwu. That's a huge break for Iowa because that play was dead.
Not only did Nzegwu have it.
Personal foul, face mask, 2, defense, 15 yards, back on the other run. Automatic, first down.
They said 2, that would be Jay Valai, but it looked to us like it was Nzegwu, and it was.
Yeah, well, Valai was right there to. That thing was dead from the start. Blake Sorensen was holding the outside. Nzegwu was there, and Valai was coming down inside. Instead, it's another first down.
Brett Bielema is saying this week, Nzegwu at the other end of the line from Watt needs to be a little bit more productive, and he's likely to see more and more action coming his way as teams run away from J.J. Watt. The officials are conferring again.
You know, Sean, J.J. Watt has been, in this first half, been very quiet. Has not done very, the Iowa offensive line has blocked him pretty well. Watt, one of those guys who uses his hands very well, and he's got a good motor, but he's been kind of quiet today.
Had the great game last week against Ohio State. Dave Doran, the defensive coordinator, saying he's playing his position about as well as anybody Doran has seen play it at the college level. For the officials with a very long conversation, apparently about
penalty enforcement was from the end of the run. The run ended 1 yard beyond the line. First down.
They moved the ball 1 yard ahead. So this Wisconsin defense now trying to protect the lead late in the first half. Clock running. Minute 43 to go, and Robinson stopped for a 1 yard gain by Culmer St. Jean and Jay Valai. And Iowa's going to get quickly back to the line of scrimmage without a huddle. 2 timeouts left for the Hawkeyes and a minute and a half to go. Stanzi might have been near the line of scrimmage as he threw it. It's caught by Colin Sandeman. First down. Clock will stop to move the chains.
He had to get on his horse because J.J. Watt got free. And he beat the tackle that time and gave pressure, forced Stanzi to make a quick decision, and a good decision it was.
He was just behind the line of scrimmage, 14-yard gain. They go quickly again, diving effort, but Alan Reisner couldn't catch it. And again, Stanzi hasn't been particularly accurate here in the first half with some men open.
Yeah, he's made the good decisions. He just, like you said, he hasn't been pinpoint accurate. And of course, there's been a couple times, you know, they've dropped the ball on him.
He threw 15 interceptions last year. That number's down to 2 this year. Doing a great job of film study. Much better decision making that comes with additional experience. Stanzi throws it into coverage, and Johnson Koulianos is out of bounds as he catches the ball with excellent coverage all the way by Niles Brinkley.
Brinkley right on top of him, a straight man. He's going to run just a 9 just down the left sideline. Now this is not a good route. See, he cannot, there's no room to throw this ball. And Brinkley defends it well and does a good job of using the sideline as the extra defender.
And the Wisconsin cheerleader was yet another defender over there. 3rd down and 10. Iowa hoping another drive doesn't bog down. Stanzi has a man open, caught inside the 5. Marvin McNutt makes it 1st and goal at the 4 for Iowa with Antonio Finellis in coverage. 16-yard gain.
And Finellis had good coverage, Sean, but McNutt does a nice job of coming back to the ball. Watch the end of the route. Comes back to the ball, makes the catch, gets out of bounds. All that made possible again by the protection of that Iowa offensive line.
Two of the best red zone teams in the country. Haven't been up to their usual standards today. Stanzi a long time at the line. Play clock at 5. Short drop. And he threw away. Looking for McNutt. Finellis had the coverage.
And smart by Stanzi. I thought he was going to go up top. He had man-to-man with the field on the left side with Johnson Koulianos. And that Brinkley, number 29, he's been drawing the coverage on him the whole time, and he's been having some pretty good coverage out there.
Kirk Ferentz wants a timeout after he had a word or two with his offensive coordinator Ken O'Keefe. And that'll leave the Hawkeyes with 1 timeout with 55 seconds to go in the half. 2nd and goal. We'll see what Ken O'Keefe's play call is when we come back to Iowa City. At sold-out Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, the Hawkeyes trailing Wisconsin 10-6. Iowa tried to take the lead before the half. 55 seconds to go. Ricky Stanzi and the Hawkeyes. 2nd and goal from the 4.
Johnson Koulianos on the top side.
Handed off to Robinson. J.J. Watt tackled him around the ankles after a 2-yard gain. 3rd and goal from the 2. Hawkeyes not really in any hurry here. They have plenty of time and they have a timeout. The crowd's groaning as if they want to see them moving more quickly. Reisner, the tight end, motion and then reset, and he is open in the flat. Touchdown Iowa.
Johnson Koulianos was not the intended receiver, but he was the intended picker and did a great job of picking off the defender on the inside, which allowed that throw to the flat for 6.
Officially a 3-yard touchdown pass to the tight end Reisner. And with a execute effectively in the kicking game. That time they did. Snap, hold, and kick good. The kick by Mike Meyer. That got a mock cheer from the crowd. And Iowa leads 13-10 with 16 seconds to go in the half.
They knew they had man coverage, which means these guys are going to follow these guys. So they're going to take Koulianos, run him back inside, get a little pick action right here. See, right there is nowhere to go. And then it's 6. All you're trying to do is to create a diversion to make the defender have to go around, and that one was that was not even going around. That was just a pure pick.
Should have been penalized, do you think?
Nope. Didn't see it. Didn't throw it.
Reisner had a memorable one-handed touchdown catch 2 years ago against Wisconsin, a 16-yarder. And Iowa's win here 2 years ago. Stanzi, the touchdown pass. His first of the ball game. And his 14th of the season. He's now thrown at least one touchdown pass in each of his last 16 games.
You know, Sean, it's amazing. Concepts never change at any level of football. Whether it's high school or college and pros, you get man coverage, they're picking somebody.
Good kick by Daniel Murray. Fielded by Brian Wozniak. And he is tackled at the 35-yard line. Sitting first and second in the chase standings, Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin. And they're heading to historic Martinsville Speedway, the Paperclip, where they've combined to win the last 8 races. Only 5 races remain in the chase. We'll make a move this week. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Martinsville tomorrow, 1 Eastern time on ESPN. Shortest track among the chase venues. Hamlin won the race there in the spring back in March. JJ's won there 6 times. Jimmy Johnson finished 35th in his first race at Martinsville. He has finished in the top 10 16 straight races at Martinsville since. You like his chances. Tolzien comes out throwing. Jared Abbrederis will be given forward progress to the 50. And a timeout, Wisconsin. And you have to like the aggressiveness of Brett Bielema here. Chance to throw a bomb and see if something good can happen with 3 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah, they just cleared that whole right side, then came back underneath with the throw, and Tolzien made the throw and had the wherewithal then to be able to get the timeout, and now you have a throw to the end zone.
Looks like they might be sending the field goal kicker out here.
Holy smokes.
And he has the wind at his back. This would be a 67-yard field goal. His career long is 57. That was a couple of years ago for Philip Welch.
You got to be careful here, because with increased length comes the chance that it could be blocked, because the trajectory is lower with the kick. It's got to come off low. And the other thing is, you know, they have somebody. Oh, no, they won't be able to.
67-yard field goal try by Welch. Yeah, that's not going to get anywhere near it. Barely made it to the end zone. Don't you think the Hail Mary was probably a higher percentage than that kick?
I was with you on that one. Take a shot.
So we've reached the half. What you'd expect from these two teams: long drives, ball control offenses. And here's Heather Cox with Kirk Ferentz.
Coach, a nice way to end the half, but 2 special teams miscues left 4 points off the board. How have you addressed those with your team?
Well, we just have to be a little bit better. We're better than that, and we didn't execute, and that's a problem.
We talked about coming in that your 2 teams on paper very similar strengths. Where can you gain the advantage in the second half?
You know, the biggest thing we need to do is try to get them off schedule somehow. You know, when they're chunking it at first down, it makes it a little bit tough. So hopefully we can get them off schedule.
Coach, thank you.
At the half, Iowa 13, Wisconsin 10. Coming up, stay tuned for complete halftime report right after these messages.
With Capital One's Venture Card, we get double miles on every purchase. So we earned a trip to the Grand Canyon twice as fast. We get double miles every time we use our card.
I'll take these.
No matter what we're buying.
Plus the damages.
And since double miles add up quick, we can bring the whole gang. It's hard to beat double miles.
No, we write them.
Introducing the Venture Card from Capital One with double miles on every purchase every day. Go to CapitalOne.com.
What's in your wallet? Oh, that's the spot.
Welcome to the Capital One Halftime Report.
Welcome to the ESPN3.com halftime show presented by Capital One. I'm Cassidy Alberth alongside Christian Fourier. Well, it's week 8, the first week with the BCS standings in place. A lot of people were surprised that Oklahoma was the #1 ranked team. Let's take a look at how the standings were determined. The Sooners were #1 in 4 of the 6 computer polls, but lagged in the human polls, ranking #3 in the coaches poll, #4 in the Harris poll. The BCS loves them some Sooners. This is the Oklahoma's 20th week at #1 in the BCS standings, the most of any team. Oregon, meanwhile, the BCS second-ranked team, is #1 in both human polls and #1 in the AP for the first time ever. Now, Christian, Oregon just dominated UCLA on Thursday night. Regardless how Oklahoma does tonight, do you think Oregon should be the #1 team in the BCS?
Well, if the anxiety that I had while watching the game is any indicator, yes, they should be, because that was an impressive display of football ability that I haven't seen in a long time. And I feel sorry for UCLA because they were just outmanned and they couldn't keep up. But, you know, at this point, I don't think it really matters 1 or 2, Oklahoma, Oregon. It doesn't matter because unless one of them loses, it's going to continue to be a debate. And you still have some other teams that are left in the background that still have no losses.
Well, with the likes of USC and Arizona ahead for the Ducks, they figure to have a significant improvement on their #8 computer ranking if they keep winning. Well, moving on to a team that has been the center of debate since the season began, Boise State, ranked 3rd in the BCS. They beat Virginia Tech, they beat Oregon State, and they've won their other games by 43 points or more. What, if anything, can Boise State do to move up in the rankings?
Oh, man, Boise State, the little engine that could, right? Still churning up that mountain, but I don't think it's going to matter what they do. You mentioned they beat Oregon State and they beat Virginia Tech, but they beat them in the first 3 weeks of the season. I don't think it matters anymore how many points they put up on San Jose State or Hawaii. I mean, Nevada lost. That was their ace in the hole as far as getting some more recognition and beating a ranked team. Nevada loses to Hawaii. So, unfortunately for Boise State, they're going to be continually looking up at this glass ceiling because nobody is going to allow them in that club unless other teams lose.
Well, a continued debate regarding Boise is that even if they are undefeated, should they be in the BCS championship game over a 1-loss SEC team? Alabama is ranked 8th and still have LSU and Auburn left on their schedule. How good are Bama's chances to be in their 2nd straight BCS championship?
Yeah, you know what? Fortunately for them, their chances are great. They play in a great conference. They have a great schedule. Auburn's undefeated. Even if Auburn continues to win, Alabama has a chance to play them. And if they do beat them, they get an extra game in the SEC championship. So the deck is stacked in their favor. And I think if you're going to lose in college football, you lose early in the season and you lose by a ranked team. They lost to South Carolina away, which was a tough place to play. So when I look at Alabama, you look at they are actually in a great position because any 1-loss SEC team has a chance to play for the national championship as long as a team from the Pac-10 or the Big 12 doesn't lose.
A lot of people are saying that maybe their
ideal
matchup is Boise, Alabama.
I would love to see a Boise State-Alabama matchup. I don't want to see Boise State playing TCU again. I want them both to play a tough conference team, a Big 12, a Pac-10, and let's really see what these guys are really made of. And, you know, most of these schools, you know, they're not going to be like Oklahoma was back when Boise State surprised everybody. They're going to be ready. Nobody wants to be embarrassed by a WAC team.
Time now for the Capital One Cup performance of the week. Auburn quarterback Cam Newton had over 300 total yards, rushed for 3 touchdowns, and threw for another in a win over Arkansas last Saturday. The Heisman hopeful received 46% of the votes. Remember to tune in tonight to College Football Final to find out what the Capital One Cup impact performances are from today's games. Then log on to ESPN.com/Capital One Cup to make your vote. Coming up, we'll preview a battle of unbeatens. Will we have a third straight week where the #1 team goes down? We'll talk Oklahoma, Missouri after the break.
It's been a hard thing. I was like the first person to leave home. My name is Ilan, and I'm saving up to buy a new Toyota Corolla. I really need the reliability that the Corolla provides. I am a bookkeeper and also a prep chef, so I need to be driving around from place to place. For the initial down payment, I'm 6 months out for when I get to go in and buy the Corolla and get the keys.
Share your Toyota story on Facebook.com/Toyota.
Welcome to Sports Nation on ESPN3.com, brought to you by Toyota. I'm Colin Cowherd. This week's poll question was, who is the Toyota Quality Performer of the Week? Now, there's 4 choices here. Matt Barkley, Armand Binns, Cincinnati wide receiver, Josh Harris, Ross Jenkins. I'll tell you who I think's had a great year, under the radar. A program I never talk about, USC Matt Barkley. Shocker. That's who I voted for. Hey, thanks for voting in this week's Sports Nation poll. Stay tuned throughout the season and help vote for Toyota's quality team, which will be revealed at the end of the year. Cassidy, fight on, Trojans.
Thanks, Colin. The game of the day features Oklahoma visiting Missouri. Our game day crew is there as well. Let's check in with them.
To say there is a frenzy in Missouri would be an understatement. The Tiger faithful ready. The thunderstorms on their way Saturday, and so are the top-ranked Sooners in the BCS standings. Swaggering in here, well aware that they have beaten the Tigers all 7 meetings with Bob Stoops as head coach. Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit alongside. They are pumped up.
No doubt.
And they are full of belief because Missouri has an improved defense, and they feel here like the 2 embarrassing beatdowns at the hands of the Sooners in the Big 12 championship games, 07 and 08, are distant memories. Oklahoma comes in here, I promise you, supremely confident. But the Missouri Tigers are talking tough.
We're not going to be intimidated. We don't care that it says Oklahoma Sooners on their jersey, and they don't really care that it says Missouri Tigers on our jersey.
It would be a statement win for this program and for this state.
Well, I feel like we all came to the University of Oklahoma to play in big games like this. So.
Our players are very aware each week you have to earn it.
To say that they're not excited about this would be an understatement.
And having college game day here for the first time in Mizzou history, which is something we're really proud about.
Rankings don't mean nothing. All it means is you got a bigger X on your chest and you need to prepare that much harder to win.
And Travis Lewis knows the Sooners have struggled a bit in recent years away from home, but there is that 20 out of the last 21 thing against Missouri that they bring in. But you know what? The Gamecocks and the Badgers were also underdogs against #1, so how can Missouri pull the upset here Saturday?
Missouri's defense is going to have to play very good. They're going to stop #7, DeMarco Murray. He's a multi-talented running back. They like to use him in the passing game, too. He has 11 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns so far in the season. This kid averages 4.4 yards per carry. He's the key to that offense. They're going to have to bottle up DeMarco Murray if they're going to have a chance to beat the Oklahoma Sooners.
Now, we've been in the past, we've seen Missouri play Oklahoma when Missouri had Chase Daniel, and Oklahoma blew them out. And the reason Missouri thinks it's different this time is because of Alden Smith and this entire Missouri defense. Missouri feels that they're playing better defense. Missouri feels it's a different year, and that defense has now become a strength. They're second in the nation, allowing 10 points a game. Is that because of the opponents they played, or is that because they've improved? We'll find out Saturday night.
If they can get Smith back and playing some meaningful number of snaps off the injury, that would certainly be a big boost. And stopping Murray would be a tall order, by the way. All right, let's look at the landscape and tell me the ranked team most likely to be upset in your mind.
I think Arkansas. When you look at Arkansas against Ole Miss, Jeremiah Masoli's playing much better now than he did at the beginning of the season. They've won 2 of their last 3 ball games. He's moving the offense. I think he has a great feel for what they're doing. And then look at the other side of the ball. Ryan Mallett coming off of a concussion. We don't know how this kid's going to be and what the stats going to be. So Arkansas better be on upset alert.
Well, Michigan State's talking about playing Iowa next week at Iowa City, and they have to stumble into Evanston at 11 a.m. local kick to be tired, sleepy, be ready, because Purple loves that kind of environment. And I'm just saying, if Michigan State's not ready to go, Dan Persa and the Wildcats can score on Michigan State.
You had them on upset alert against the Illini last week.
It was 6-3 in the first half.
Yeah. Both of you guys might have to accept the fact that the Spartans might be pretty good.
Yeah, they are. They are good.
I don't think they can win in Iowa, but I think they get out of Evanston.
After 2 straight weeks where the #1 team has gone down, all eyes on Oklahoma as they rank #1 in the first BCS standings of the season. Remaining in first place another week will be quite a challenge as they travel to number 11 Missouri tonight in a matchup of unbeaten Big 12 division leaders. The Tigers have lost 19 of their last 20 games against Oklahoma, including 2 crushing defeats in the 07 and 08 Big 12 championship games. This is Oklahoma's first 6-0 start since 2004, but it came as a bit of a surprise when they were revealed as the #1 team in the BCS standings, partially due to a bit of a slow start. But they seem to be in a groove now. What do you like about this Oklahoma team?
You know, I think that slow start actually helped them because it wasn't like they played lower-level teams. They played an Air Force team that's really good. They played a Cincy team that's not as good, but they still put up points. But you look at it, this is the perfect storm for them. They have a great three-headed monster with Ryan Broyles at receiver. They have a good quarterback, Landry Jones, who's doing everything right, game managing the offense. And DeMarco Murray, he's got 13 touchdowns. He is tied in the FBS right now. So Oklahoma, when you think about their schedule, when I think about their schedule, I think it worked out perfect for them. People think that it was a lack of consistency. No, I think it was perfect timing. Air Force, Utah State, Cincinnati. Then they have Florida State, Texas. Perfectly, they are evolving into a great team, and their schedule not only helps them to evolve as a team, but it helps them in the polls.
Well, on the flip side, Missouri is trying to improve to 7-0 for the first time since 1960. Now, much of Missouri's successes stem from their defense, but their offense is also playing very well, averaging 35 points a game.
Yeah, and their offense is going to dictate to the success of this game, but it all puts on the shoulders of quarterback Blaine Gabbert. He is playing really well in that system. Head coach Gary Pinkel handpicked this kid to run this offense. He's very efficient with the ball. He runs the offense very well. But like you said, it's the defense that's been having a lot of success. They're very stingy, only 13.3 points per game. They average 3 sacks per game, which leads the country. They also get defensive end Aldon Smith back, who was out for 3 weeks with a broken foot. So I really like this game, but even though it's homecoming for Missouri, Oklahoma is doing everything right. They evolved as a team, struggled a little bit in the beginning, got better in the middle of the season. Now, end of October, beginning of November, they're starting to beat the teams they should handily, like Iowa State, and now they have another test with Missouri.
Well, it should be interesting to see after Oregon's blowout win on Thursday night against UCLA what this game does for Oklahoma's #1 standing in the BCS. If you happen to miss this game tonight, you can catch the replay starting tomorrow on ESPN3.com. Taking a look at some news and notes across the college football world, Florida running back Chris Rainey is eligible to return to action October 30th against Georgia. Rainey reached an agreement last month with the Florida state attorney that could lead to a stalking charge being dropped if he meets the team terms of agreement. A couple of coaches are out at their respective schools. Minnesota's Tim Brewster was let go this week after going 15-30 as the Golden Gophers head coach. Offensive coordinator Jeff Horton will serve as interim head coach for the remainder of the season. And North Texas has fired coach Todd Dodge, who had the lowest winning percentage in school history. In other news, the Pac-10 has announced their new conference divisions that will be put into effect starting in the 2011 season. A couple of key notes on the divisions. The league decided to split the California schools, with Stanford and Cal playing in the North Division and UCLA and USC in the South. But UCLA and USC will face Cal and Stanford every year. Also, the conference title game will be hosted by the division champion with the best conference record. Pac-10 Commissioner Larry Scott said the conference chose a campus site over a neutral site to create a superior environment and reward the better team. There will also be no divisions in any other sports in the Pac-10. Coming up, playing at night adds a certain level of drama to any game. We'll examine what it's like to play under the lights after the break.
I love Dr. Pepper. The taste of these 23 flavors can never be equaled, like me. Hey.
What, man? Come on, Mike, man. Nice hit.
There's nothing like a pepper. Trust me, I've sent people to the doctor.
Hey, students. Dr. Lou here with a little pop quiz for you. These days, college tuition is A, pretty affordable, B, a little bit pricey, C, more expensive than a private island in the Caribbean. Bingo! College is pretty darn expensive. Luckily, Dr. Pepper's got you covered with a Dr. Pepper $1 Million tuition giveaway. Visit drpepper.com and upload a video telling us why you deserve a chance to win. It couldn't be easier. Each week, Dr. Pepper will give students tuition money for the most thoughtful, compelling, enthusiastic, and entertaining videos submitted. So to review, students, go to drpepper.com, upload your video, and enter the Dr. Pepper $1 Million Tuition Giveaway. If old Dr. Lou here likes what he sees, you could win big. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Night games are like no other. You know, you're playing under the lights. It's what you dream of as a kid, you know, to be on the big stage.
It's just an added sense of this adrenaline. There's definitely more fans out there, a lot more tailgating going on.
Night games, the crowd's definitely a little more rowdy. Some words are said that wouldn't be said at a noon game.
Those fans erupt, they throw stuff, they say stuff, and it just adds a lot more excitement to the game.
No matter what, it's a football game and it's crazy, but it's the mystique. There's a lot of emotion running through you.
The only thing I hate about night games is just laying around the hotel all day with your stomach churning.
You're just so anxious to get out on the field that you just can't wait for that first kickoff.
Christian, I always dream about what it would be like to play under the lights. How special is it to play in night games?
You know, you hear these guys talking about it. It's special for a lot of different reasons. I know there's plenty of night games nowadays, but if you get to play in that Saturday night game where everybody's watching and everybody's paying attention to you and you're the only show in town, it's special. And there's a lot of anticipation, not only for the players, but the fans, because they got to sit around and tailgate for an extra 4 hours. But there is a dark side to having a night game. And for a player, you're antsy. You don't know what's going on. You're used to doing something a certain way. And then your coach says, listen, get out of the hotel, walk around, do something. And for me, it usually leads to mischief. And I'm talking about maybe I'm stealing somebody's bed and I'm putting it into the bathroom. Or maybe it's, you know, staying up a little too late watching the Late Show. Either way, in the end, the night games are the premier show in town. And if you're in that game, that means you're playing well.
I'd pay to hear some of those stories of what you got into on those nights before a night game.
Nothing like those long nights in Stillwater at the Holiday Inn.
Well, that's all the time we have on ESPN3.com before you go any further. Presented by Capital One. Make sure to tune in to College Football Final to see this week's Capital One Cup Impact Performance nominees. I'm Cassidy Hubbard. He's Christian Fourier, and I'll send you back out to the second half.
About ready for the start of the second half between Iowa and Wisconsin. The Hawkeyes lead by 3. And the number that jumps out of me, Matt, from the rest of those stats, the Iowa defense held Wisconsin to just 48 yards rushing in the first half.
And what's really impressive about that, Sean, is 46 of them came in the first quarter. In the second quarter, only 2. And so I think what happened defensively, they got a little more comfortable. And I think Adrian Claiborne and Klug inside start to kind of take away that left side of the offensive line of Wisconsin. That's the first thing. And then I think the second thing was this. You're not going to get a lot of chances here in terms of possessions. But when they had the holding call on Klug and turned it into the 1st and 20, that was big.
Wisconsin kicks off to begin the second half. Line drive kick by Welch that goes through the end zone. So Iowa begin 1st and 10 from its own 20-yard line. As we look at the Pacific Life game summary, Bolzine impressive in the first half, 10 out of 13, including a touchdown pass. Iowa had a point after touchdown blocked, and then a problem with the snap and hold on a field goal. And late in the half, the final minute of the half, Alan Reisner, a 3-yard pass from Ricky Stanzi. And Iowa leads 13-10 as the second half begins, and the third quarter has been the Hawkeyes' quarter this year. 37-0 in their favor in the third quarter. Ricky Stanzi.
All kinds of time.
And that's been the case through most of this day. Throws short for Alan Reisner. About a 3-yard gain. Here's Heather Cox.
Well, Sean, Brett Bielema echoed exactly what Matt Millen just said, which is take advantage of every offensive opportunity because they know they're not going to get very many. Bielema also frustrated. He said we'd had some very uncharacteristic penalties, the holding and the 2 face masks. When I asked him if there's any sense of a letdown and if he's happy with the emotion, he said, I'm seeing the emotion, I'm seeing the sense of urgency. We will improve in the second half.
Well, they came out ready to play, marched right down the field with their opening possession. Had to settle for the field goal. Here's Adam Robinson out to the 27-yard line, tackled by Aaron Henry. 4-yard gain for Robinson, so he's up to 80 yards rushing now on 14 carries.
The other thing that Coach Bielema has to be aware of is they are not getting any pressure in the pass game. J.J. Watt has been quiet. The defensive line has not generated any kind of pressure. And Stanzi's had all kinds of time to be able to see the whole field. Not just a half the field throw, but the whole field.
Third down and 3. Play action fake by Stanzi. Going short to Brett Morris. He lunged for the 30. Are they going to give him that mark? Kevin Claxton made the tackle. Ooh, looked like a pretty generous spot. And they're going to give him the first down. And Claxton doesn't like it. And I assume most of the people watching in the great state of Wisconsin don't like this spot. It's a bad spot.
Where the ball is. Yeah, right here. It's where the ball is when the knee touches. And that was a very generous spot. If I'm Iowa, I try to snap this as quick as I can.
Well, they should, because Replay could stop it. Yep, and they waited too long. And they're going to have to punt now.
That was poor awareness by the Iowa sideline.
Might be a challenge.
Timeout, Wisconsin. First team timeout. I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
I think Brett Bielema called the timeout to get them to try to take a longer look at this.
The previous play regarding the first down is under review.
You know, if they just tune in, we'd have told them a lot sooner. Now watch, it's where the knee is. There's the ball, there's the knee, and there's the short. They ended up giving him a pretty healthy spot. I believe this one will be pulled back.
That's where it should be. Not a yard shorter where they actually marked it. Had a good timeout by Brett Bielema because it seems like the extra time led to a lengthier review of it. They're reviewing it all the time upstairs. It's hard to believe they didn't stop it from the booth, though, because that was pretty obviously a terrible spot.
Yeah, it looked like it from here.
And I think that's Brett Bielema's point. You know, why should I have to waste the timeout when if this process was working correctly, first of all, the ball would have been spotted correctly, and secondly, the replay booth would have corrected it without my using the timeout.
Replay had buzzed the officials on the field just as the Wisconsin coach was calling the timeout. There is no Wisconsin timeout. Following the review, the ball will be placed just over the 29-yard line. 4th down.
Well, these Iowa fans don't like any part of that.
And he said over, and now they're going to have to move it because they have it under. Now they went over. But that's the right call.
Yes, it is. In the final analysis. So Ryan Donahue will punt to David Gilreath. Donahue punting into the wind. Punted once for 50 yards in the first half. This is a good kick. Gilreath watches it go over his shoulders and all the way into the end zone. 71-yard punt. Here's a look at our marquee matchup that we talked about at the beginning of the game. Adrian Clayborn working on Dave Karimi, All-American candidates, both of them.
Well, he's had, when it's been 3rd and long, and he's able to get around, he's been able to get the edge on him. But there's a couple series there that Clayborn just had great awareness on the inside. Karimi in the run game has been pretty solid. It's in that pass game where Clayborn has had a couple of wins.
Here's Wisconsin on offense for the first time in the second half. Trailing 10-3. John Clay stacked up by the defense after a 3-yard gain. Jeremiah Hunter leading the defense for the Hawkeyes. They mark it at the 22. And a gain of 2. We haven't seen James White after he was injured in the first half. Bill Nagy's come on at center at the moment for Peter Kahns.
They got a bunch of guys banged up here today.
Kahns was questionable coming into the game with an ankle injury. Nagy has played center and guard and tight end, as we've seen today. Tolzien throws it sideways for Clay with some running room. And he's shoved out by Tyler Nielsen. They want a late hit on the far sideline on Tyler Sash.
Well, it looks like Clay went in there. He went in there hard into that sideline. Remember, this sideline is very, very tight. It's a very tight. There's not a lot of room. He gets the push, and that's fine. And he goes in. The bench is close. It's really tight on that side.
Well, the stands are very close to the sideline here, so there's very little room for the sideline personnel, players, coaches, equipment folks, etc. That's how close they are.
He's back up again.
I think it looked worse. This field turf's now a little slick because of the rain that started to fall, and it looked like he slipped after the push. Monty Ball's in there where ordinarily it would be James White. Short gain, about 2, out to the 33-yard line for Ball, who was highly touted coming out of high school as a true freshman last year for Wisconsin. The running back coach, John Settle, compared him to Christian Okoye.
John Settle is a heck of a coach. Christian Okoye is a tall order, let me tell you, because that's a big, powerful man. John Settle was a Pro Bowler for the Atlanta Falcons.
Tolzien throws far side. Jake Byrne makes the catch. Didn't have any in 31 career games prior to today. He's had 2 today. Among the injuries today, Lance Kendricks injured an ankle in the first half. James White banged up. They're without Peter Kahns right now, so it was Byrne there, tight end, making the catch. Gain of 3. 3rd down and 5. Tolzien throws, caught at midfield. First down, David Gilreath to the Iowa 45. Ridden out by Tyler Sash. 19 yards, and they convert on 3rd down and 5.
Well, working on Micah Hyde on the inside, but then it's Prater on the outside, and they went man underneath, and they kept their safeties over the top. But because he had time to throw, he's able to beat Prater to the outside and picks up a big first down. This Gilreath is exciting. This kid's a big play waiting to happen.
The numbers will be bigger. He missed a couple of games earlier this season with a concussion. They eased him back into it when he returned. Tolzien to the far side. Gilreath again. Matter of fact, he missed 2 games. And then when he came back, they weren't having him run back kicks. And Gilreath was eager to get back in there. He thought the coaches were trying to protect him, thought maybe he'd be afraid to go back there and run back kicks. And he told him, hey, I don't even remember the hit on the punt return. So let me go back out there and return kicks. He did last week, and he brought the opening kickoff back for the touchdown against Ohio State. The pass gained 4, 2nd and 6, just shy of the 40-yard line. They spread the field with receivers, and Tolzien's on target again for a first down to Monty Ball. Jeremiah Hunter had the coverage. Good to the 33-yard line. 7 yards, first down.
And a nice job by the offensive line of protection. You have 5 men out. So the departure from the Wisconsin playbook, they've been pounding. Like you said, at halftime, they only had 48 yards. Now they're spreading the field and letting Tolzien take his pick.
Tolzien, a very efficient passer, 15th in the country in pass efficiency. Very accurate, and again today, 15 out of 18, and on the money again when the ball came out, but I think they're going to give him the catch, and a flag thrown at the end of the play. Ball, the reception, they're going to call that complete for a first down. Jeremiah Hunter pulled the ball out, and then there was a flag thrown.
And Hunter is slow in getting up. In fact, he's not getting up. He's still down there on the sideline. Ball, this is, they're throwing back underneath.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 28. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Sean Prater, the cornerback, called for the personal foul.
Ball just going to come back underneath. Hunter's going to take him through. There's the out of bounds. Oh, okay, so he was already out of bounds when Prater hit him.
Wow. Close. So he was on the boundary. We're still taking a look at Hunter on the far side of the field, so we'll step aside with 8:53 to go in the third quarter. Jeremiah Hunter made his way across the field from the far sideline to the Iowa sideline. They're looking at his right knee. He's their leading tackler for the season. Veteran, senior, 32nd career start. And there are injuries as well on the Wisconsin side, Heather.
Wisconsin without 3 of its offensive starters, and the 4th, John Clay, just returned to action. You saw him hit the bench when he got tackled out of bounds, injured his arm and shoulder, begged to return. But running back James White and tight end Lance Kendricks haven't even come out of the locker room. Also, Nick Toon, the receiver, hasn't played a snap all day, guys, for Wisconsin, as Bielema tries to call a timeout here.
Timeout, Wisconsin. First timeout.
And with maybe Jared Aberderis wasn't lined up in the right place. The
30-second
freshman.
30-second timeout.
It's the first timeout used by Wisconsin in the half, and these Badgers without many of their key offensive weapons, driving, trying to reclaim the lead. We check in with Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Robert, speaking of limited turnovers, these are 2 of the best in the country. They both have committed only 5 turnovers all season long, second fewest in the country behind Oregon State's 4, and neither team has turned it over today. First down and 10 from the 11 for Wisconsin. John Clay breaks tackles and is stripped down by Tyler Sash inside the 4-yard line. 7-yard gain.
Just power football inside, and again, not like they're going to. Claiborne's limping off because he got cut from the backside, and that was not good. But it's just power football. They're not going to try to trick anybody, but watch the backside.
Oh.
That's wrong. Let me tell you something. That'd be a major fight right there. You do not get on the back of somebody's knees.
Brady Ewing, the fullback, did it. 2nd and 3. They could get a first down at the 1. Clay. John Clay, the ball inside the 4, and that's all. Another long drive. That was the 10th play of the drive. In the first half, Wisconsin had 5 possessions. They averaged 5 minutes and 55 seconds per possession and averaged over 7 plays per drive. Iowa held the ball on average for more than 4 minutes on their 4 possessions. Did a game of very long drives.
That's why you're not going to get a lot of shots. This is what Heather was talking about with Coach Bielema.
So often these days, these spread offenses score quickly. These 2 teams not designed that way. Clay did not get the first down. Stacked up by Lance Tillison, who came in for Hunter. Tillison hasn't played a lot. He had help from Sash and Nielsen, and they stacked up Clay. 4th down, and Brett Bielema looks like he's going to go for it, with Welch, the kicker, still on the sideline.
Well, that was a man tackle by Tillison. That was just man on man, and he put all 220 pounds of him and stopped playing, and got a little help from his friends.
Wisconsin just 1 out of 3 on 4th down this year. 4th and goal from the 1. Passing up the chance to tie, trying for the lead. John Clay, straight ahead, touchdown, Wisconsin.
If you're supposed to be big and physical, then you prove it. Bielema believes in that offensive line and John Clay, and so they just do what they do best. They're just going to the left. It's an OT, little counter action, and it's just power inside.
And now Welch on to add the extra point. Another long drive, 12 plays, 80 yards in nearly 6.5 minutes. And the kick is good, and the lead is 4 for Wisconsin. 17-13. 6.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter in Iowa City.
college football on ABC. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
That's the visiting locker room here at Kinnick Stadium. Pink, the brainchild of the legendary coach Hayden Fry, for whom Bret Bielema played. Fry was a psychology major at Baylor University. Once read that pink had a calming effect on people, so when he got here, he ordered the visiting locker rooms be painted pink, homing to calm the team's opponents. And everything in there is pink. The urinals are pink, the sinks are pink. There's even a telephone in there that's pink.
It's just enough to make you mad.
Hasn't seemed to calm down the Badgers. They've taken the lead by 4 as Welch kicks off. Returnable for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. He brought one back for a touchdown last year at Ohio State, memorably, in that battle for the Big Ten title. They jumped on the pile as if the ball might have been out, but he's down at the 32-yard line, tackled by Devin Smith. Here's Heather Cox.
You guys are talking about that pink locker room. There are certainly some Wisconsin ties to that locker room. Bret Bielema actually played and coached here during the entire time he was at Iowa. He said he never went into the pink visitors locker room. The first time was as a head coach for Wisconsin. And also John Chatema, who's now an associate AD for Wisconsin, helped paint that pink locker room when he was a student assistant here.
And Robinson stopped on the line of scrimmage. Blake Sorensen, Jay Valai, Mike Taylor all in on the play for the Badgers. No gain on the play.
You know, and you watch this Badger defense, there's one guy who keeps showing up, and that's Blake Sorensen. This kid has great instincts. Sean, he's always around the football, always around the ball, and knows how to make a play. Last week against Ohio State, I thought he had an outstanding game.
And Dave Doran, the defensive coordinator, said it was the best game of his career. He's a senior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Stanzi's throw a little bit short, and it's caught by Keenan Davis, ruled incomplete now. Davis wants to know why. And another throw from Stanzi that was just a little bit off target for an open receiver.
He certainly had an open, he had a throwing lane, he had time to throw. But you're right, and that was just not a well-thrown ball.
It's 3rd down and 10. We've seen flashes of lightning off to our right, but we're told by the game management folks here that it is 15 miles away and moving away. To get to within 10 miles of the stadium, we'll have to stop play. Stanzi throws over the middle, caught very near the first down. It looks like Colin Sandeman has it, and does, at the 42-yard line on the completion of the senior from Bettendorf, Iowa. Good for 11.
Well, just a nice job by Adam Robinson, because they come with a blitz and everything's picked up. Good protection all the way around, and Sandeman can sit down. Remember, Sandeman earlier in the game had the nice pick route that allowed for the touchdown. This time he comes up with a big first down.
Play action pass by Stanzi. Throws short for Robinson. He's pulled down again by Blake Sorensen. 3-yard gain. Looks like Kendricks is done for the day, back on the sideline in his warm-up.
Well, I hope he heals faster. That's a very good player. Lance Kendricks is one of those guys who's he's just turning into what he's going to be. He's going to be a really good one.
Certainly a leading candidate for the John Mackey Award as the best tight end in the country. I mentioned they have 3 tight ends in the NFL, and Bielema says Kendricks is the best of the bunch. Robinson carries. And of course, Iowa's done a great job turning out tight ends. They have 5 players in the NFL, the 4, check that, in the NFL. Among the tight end cores in the National Football League. Of course, bad news yesterday. Dallas Clark's going to miss the rest of the year for the Colts. He'll need surgery on his wrist.
I'll tell you, the guy who's really having a great year for the Chiefs, Tony Moeaki, is having just a phenomenal year for a rookie.
There's almost one more on that list. Jason Posiak was on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad but was cut. He's now in the UFL. Stange throws near side, first down. They convert on 3rd and 4. Marvin McNutt gets 7 to the 45-yard line of the Badgers.
Yeah, McNutt is just taking what the defense is giving him. They're going to give him a little bit of a cushion. So he runs the corner back, and then, you know, just does a nice throw and a nice pickup and a first down. They keep the chains going.
Four catches today for McNutt, junior from St. Louis. He had 4 last week in their win at Michigan. Wisconsin has taken the lead on a touchdown by John Clay. They scored now a touchdown in 13 of the last 14 games. Stange trying to answer. The man is wide open. Caught! Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. Touchdown in the lead for Iowa.
It all started with the protection, Sean. It's been the story all game long. This offensive line has given them all kinds of time, and it was 6 quick.
Another important extra point is still Mike Meyer. We can see even there was a little hesitation, making sure the snap and hold were good, but he made it. It's a 3-point lead. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, a 45-yard touchdown reception. Brinkley fell down. Iowa has the lead. Johnson-Koulianos with some congratulations from Sean Green, the running back of the New York Jets, former Iowa star, who's here on the Jets bye week. 45-yard touchdown reception by Johnson-Koulianos, his 15th career touchdown catch. He broke Tim White's receiving yardage mark at Iowa last week up at Michigan. He had 4 catches and 3 touchdowns. And he's now 1 reception away from tying Kevin Casper with 157 career catches. Both White and Casper had nice careers in the NFL.
What a good route he ran to get that score.
Gilreath started at the 2 and did not reach the 20.
That's a heck of a tackle.
He'll be playing against his brother next week. Brother Marcus is defensive back at Michigan State. They'll go head-to-head here next Saturday.
I want you to watch on the outside. You're going to see exactly what Brinkley does. His eyes are back inside because it's a zone. But he's feeling the receiver here, and that's what he bites on. Now, there's one thing to bite, but he bit and he chewed for a long time. And that's what Koulianos takes to his advantage and turns it into 6.
Iowa was offside on the kickoff, so they're going to do it again.
Special teams have not been one of the areas that Coach Ferentz has been happy with, both the kicking part of it and coverage. He said he went back to work and they're going to get things straightened out. This is going to be another one that he's going to show his team over and over again.
Johnson Koulianos, by the way, is on his way to leading Iowa in receiving for the 4th year in a row, and nobody's ever done that in the history of this program. So you'd have to think he's making the claim he's the greatest wide receiver they've ever had here.
And you know what I really liked about the kid? Now, we talked about him, how he got the personality and effervescence and all of that stuff, but that kid in the weight room is a beast. You know, for a wide receiver, he'll throw up over 400 pounds. And we're talking not just, you know, with the arms.
He can lift 400 pounds.
Yeah, that's some heavy weight.
6'1", 200, they list him. Meyer kicks it off after the walk-off for the penalty. Wisconsin will get much better field position. Gilreath might take it. He just was tripped up at the 50-yard line. And it was the kicker, Meyer, who prevented a touchdown. 38-yard return to the 49-yard line. Here's Robert Flores with the Sprint Sports Center right now. Well, he struggled last week against that Texas defense. There's John Clay powering into Iowa territory to the 35-yard line. They picked up 31 yards on that re-kick, and Wisconsin takes advantage of the good field position with a 16-yard Clay run.
And you're right. He just ran right through Klug, and it looks like you just ticked him off because now he's just mauling people. Here's Gilreath. That is a touchdown saving tackle, because if he gets past the kicker, he was gone.
Wisconsin down by 3. They have to lean heavily on Clay, you would think. He goes up the middle for a couple. Broderick Binns made the tackle. They're without their leading receiver and terrific blocking tight end Lance Kendricks. Without their leading wide receiver Nick Toon. Without James White, who's in street clothes on the sideline, who alternates at tailback with John Clay. They're without Peter Kahns, their starting center right now. But they keep marching down the field.
And remember, John Clay was shaken up on the sideline, and now he's back in. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat.
Clay is 70 yards rushing today. He's rushed for 100 or more in 12 of the last 13. Tolzien throws it short. First down. Good run after the catch by Isaac Anderson. Inside the 5. And out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
Just sitting down in the zone. Remember, the holes in the zone. He's going to sit back underneath. Sits right down. And then it's just he uses his leg. Run after the catch. And he can scoot.
Good genes. His dad, Melvin, played at the University of Minnesota and in the NFL. Wide receiver for Kansas City and Pittsburgh. And his mom, Lisa, was a 4-year member of the track team at the University of Minnesota.
He showed some of Mom's speed right there in that run after.
First and goal. Wisconsin poised to reclaim the lead, and they do on another touchdown by John Clay.
Both times they've needed the power touchdown, They go right back inside. Moffitt blocks down. Karimi blocks down. And then it's just pulling of the two tight ends who come around, and it's power inside. You know what's so impressive about this is everybody in the stadium, as well as the defense, knows where it's going, and they still are successful.
Well, that offside penalty on the first kickoff was huge. Gave Wisconsin the second chance to run one back. They took advantage of the much shorter field, and Clay scored again. Extra point good by Welch. It's a 4-point lead for Wisconsin. If you joined us late, Iowa has missed an extra point in this game. That could be huge. Tonight on ABC, Saturday Night Football features a battle between two undefeated teams. The top-ranked Oklahoma Sooners head to Columbia to take on the 11th-ranked Missouri Tigers. That's tonight, Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 Eastern Time on ABC. Oklahoma, the #1 team in the initial BCS standings. The #1 team has gone on to win the national championship only twice. Missouri 6-0 for just the third time in the last 50 years, but a lot of people wondering how good they really are. They played a pretty soft schedule up to now. They'll get a real test tonight in Columbia on homecoming.
I want you to take a good look at John Clay's head. He has such great respect for his offensive line. He shaved all the numbers of his offensive linemen into the sides of his noggin. And he knows where his bread is buttered. Every time he's got to get the big tough yards, he goes right back inside behind that O-line.
I mentioned he has scored a touchdown in 12 of the last 13 games. Johnson Koulianos will down it. The only game in that stretch he didn't score a touchdown was at Michigan State, and it was a loss. Here's a look at the BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos. Oregon #2. With all due respect to the Sooners, I think have a terrific team. I think Oregon has deserved the right to be #1 right now.
I don't know about all that stuff, but I know about that little running back, Michael James. He is exciting.
I think they've been the most impressive, and again on Thursday night, the way they hammered a UCLA team. They have gone to Texas and won. Well, that doesn't seem like such a big deal again after today's result.
Yeah, congratulations to Iowa State.
Down to Texas and won. Adam Robinson with a flag down. He's down after a gain of a couple. Pat Muldoon, redshirt freshman, backup defensive end in there for Brett Bielema's defense. Legal procedure against the Hawkeyes.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield. 5 yards previous spot. Repeat first down.
Another one of those penalties that is a mental penalty, which will drive the coaching staff nuts.
Final minute of the third quarter. 1st and 15. Lean more heavily on the pass here in the second half. Stanzi design rollout after the fake. Good throw and catch. 26-yard line, maybe even the 27 for Johnson Koulianos, and that's his 5th catch. That ties him with Kevin Casper, 157 career receptions, the all-time Iowa mark. He just did get the toes down, it appeared.
Oh yeah, very well done. Look at that. Inside, good catch.
They're going to review it.
It's under review.
He dotted his eyes, it looked like, from here, didn't it?
Well, looked like 1 foot down inbounds, the other on the line. Then the question becomes which one was down first, because if your first foot's down inbounds, you're all right. If it stands, he has tied Kevin Casper's record. Kevin Casper not recently retiring from the NFL, working in the speed training area in Illinois. I think it's hard to tell from there which foot was down first. Kind of playing simultaneously, don't they?
But see, it still looks like he's on the green and not the white.
It certainly doesn't look to be conclusive, and the call on the field was a catch. His left foot isn't on the sideline. It's very close.
Look at the line judge right there. He's got the best view of all of them.
Yes, he's also the one who marked the ball about 1.5 yards ahead of where it should have been in the first half. This is a big review right here. The 2nd and 3.
Following the review, the play stands as called.
Well, he did not say the ruling was confirmed, so I think that means it just wasn't conclusive evidence. And it did not appear to be conclusive. So a gain of 12. And now he's tied with Casper for the all-time receptions mark here at Iowa. Might be the last play of the 3rd quarter. These two heavyweights in a back-and-forth battle today. Alan Reisner swung down after he got a first down to the 36. Pulled down by Lewis and Zegwu. 9 yards. End of the 3rd quarter. Iowa led at the half. But now it's Wisconsin by 4. Back and forth game here in Iowa City, moving to the 4th quarter. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox. Iowa led 13-10 at the half. Each team led twice in the first half. Wisconsin outscored Iowa 14-7 in the 3rd quarter. Badgers by 4. Iowa's ball. 1st and 10 from its own 36. Ricky Stanzi, straight bag, throws down the near sideline, out of bounds for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. Crowd wants a flag on Niles Brinkley, but that was not catchable. You saw that signal from the field judge, Henry Zaborniak.
It's a good non-call. Again, Koulianos, he's got to give his quarterback an area to throw into. You can't just cut to the sideline. You've got to give him some room. On the other hand, Brinkley does a good job of funneling him into the sideline, so there is no space. Koulianos has to fight that defender.
sneak in the run with Adam Robinson. It's a good one. They haven't gone to him very often here in the second half. They got 9, tackled by Ethan Heamer. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Going to come back inside with a little trap action. In fact, there's nobody there to trap. They blocked it so well. And then Robinson just took the void and picked up 9.
Missed his 4th carry of the second half after he rushed 13 times in the first half. He's nearing a 100-yard game. He's had 4 of them in their first 6 games. On 3rd and short, it's the fullback, Brett Morse, who converts again to the 50-yard line. Bo Allen made the tackle. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The big story at the moment, the miscues for Iowa. They had a PAT blocked after their first touchdown in the first quarter. And they had problems with the snap and hold on a short field goal try in the second quarter. They could use those 4 points if they had them, obviously. It would be a tie game. Math teachers proud all over America. Stanzi steps up, has some running room. Got a 7-yard gain as he runs out of the 43-yard line, chased out by Niles Brinkley. Stanzi's a good athlete. He was recruited by some Division I basketball programs out of high school in Mentor, Ohio.
What's impressing me about Stanzi here today is his decision making. Doesn't try to force anything. He takes what's there, and in that instance, what was there was, hey, use your legs and get it, and he did.
Stanzi was not particularly highly recruited as the quarterback. They beat MAC schools to get him, most notably Miami of Ohio. Robinson on 2nd and 3. Back to the line, and that's all. Stopped by Calmer St. Jean and J.J. Watt.
You want to see a safety drop down. Jay Valai comes down, and Morse, the fullback, just is face to face. Bang. Ooh, I like that. Nicely done. Morse not afraid to throw in there, but Valai bent him backwards. Forced everything back inside, did his job.
Well, Morris missed last week with a bad back. I don't think that made his back feel any better. Iowa's 8 for 11 on 3rd down today. 3rd down and 2. Under 13 minutes to go. Wisconsin leads by 4. Stanzi nicely designed and executed. McNutt has the first down. They're a good 3rd down team. Better than 48% for the year coming in, and way above 50% today.
Yeah, this is a part of everybody's playbook, and it came out of Bill Walsh, and it's just a sprint right, and they're going to throw that thing. You have the option to be able to throw it out there or back underneath. So the fullback coming under, and if that's not there, the 3rd option is for the quarterback to run it.
On 1st and 10, Stanzi has another short completion to Reisner. He got away from Valai and Sorensen and got a first down. Down to the 24-yard line.
Remember a year ago, this Iowa offense loved to use Tony Moyaki in much the same way, and Reisner today had himself a good game. Taking the underneath stuff, and then watch him. He's a little nifty down the field to pick up the first down.
He's a senior out of Marion, Iowa. 54 players on this team from the state of Iowa. Largely a homegrown roster. At the 11-yard gain, it's back to the run with Adam Robinson. Took a hit and stayed on his feet and was very near another first down. Sorensen gave him a pop. Niles Brinkley had to come over and finish him off.
Remember we talked about how tough he was? Watch this. He just puts his shoulder down and just runs right through it.
Niles Brinkley hit him. Sorensen helped him across the boundary. That gets Robinson over 100 yards for the 5th time this year.
The more I watch him, the more I like him. He's got good vision, but great toughness.
Timeout, Wisconsin. Trying to stop the momentum of this Hawkeye drive. This week on Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys try to right their ship as they host the New York Giants in Dallas. Giants-Cowboys Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. During the TV break, they reviewed the spot of the ball. They gave Iowa another yard or so, moved the ball to the 13-yard line, and it's a first down. Put them in second and short. Instead, it's a new set of downs. 1st and 10 from the 13 after the Wisconsin timeout. Iowa stop this Iowa drive. The 11th play is upcoming. Adam Robinson. Oh, look at him. He might have tripped over the pile there. Ethan Hemer in the center. James Ferentz. James Ferentz were battling, and it looked like he tripped over them. 6-yard gain.
Vanderbilt right there, 63 with a nice block, and Ferentz inside 53. It's just power. It's the same thing, Sean. It's really, we're watching the same thing. It's a mirror of this Wisconsin, but a little smaller line.
2nd and 4. Take the big guard Vandervelde he got in the way of Robinson. They put the fullback Morris back in to lead the way for Robinson. And he's down at the 6. Still about 3 yards short of the first down. Interesting to see if Kirk Ferentz thinks it's 4-down territory if they don't pick it up here on 3rd and about 3.
Well, that Claxton's had himself a pretty active game back there today. And Sorensen's always right in the middle of everything. But those linebackers, they've been active because this defensive line has been blocked pretty well by the Iowa offensive line.
3 receivers now, and Robinson the lone back. They faked it to Robinson. Man open! Touchdown, Marvin McNutt!
Remember earlier when Wisconsin pounded the football, got down inside the 5, went with play action for the score? Mirror image. Same design, same result.
Now Meyer makes the extra point that puts the lead back to 3. Back and forth they go. It's Iowa by 3. After a touchdown pass, Ricky Stanzi to Marvin McNutt.
is College Football on ABC. Brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And Chevrolet.
Here's a look at the old Capitol building here on the lovely campus of the University of Iowa. Iowa City was the state capital from 1846 till 1857 before it moved to Des Moines, and that building was the first permanent structure owned by the University of Iowa, which has taken the lead over their arch rival Wisconsin in the battle for the Heartland Trophy. Marvin McNutt, a 6-yard touchdown reception. His 11th career touchdown catch, 3rd of his junior season. And Mike Meyer kicks off. Good kick with the wind behind him. David Gilreath a yard or 2 deep in the end zone. Surrounded by Hawkeyes and taken down at the 16-yard line by Don Nordman. Backup wide receiver.
Let's go back to that touchdown. This looks like they're locked up in man coverage, and Henry has McNutt. And I want you to watch the eyes right there of Henry. See the eyes go back inside to the quarterback. When you're in man, key the man. His eyes went back in the backfield. McNutt is free, and it's 6 points.
And a good throw by Stans. He had to have just the right loft and velocity on it. And now this sellout crowd trying to make life miserable for their neighbors from Wisconsin. Scott Tolzien threw it up for grabs, and it is intercepted by Brett Greenwood.
Tolzien had been making good decisions right up until that point. He thought he had Isaac Anderson in the back, but Brett Greenwood read the eyes of Tolzien flawlessly and makes the play. Tolzien has the underneath receiver, the easy one. Instead, he goes beyond. Greenwood makes the play, and it's a big and first turnover of the game.
First turnover for either team in a back-and-forth game like this. Each team has led 4 times. One key mistake could be fatal. Line of scrimmage, the 26. Robinson shot down by Aaron Henry. The interception by Greenwood, the 9th of his career, 2nd this year.
You see Brett Greenwood, he was already in motion. He saw Anderson coming across, and using his good geometry in his mind, figured out the angle and hit it perfectly.
He's big with the interceptions in their big rivalry games. We mentioned 9 career interceptions. 4 of them are against Iowa State, one of their 3 trophy games. That's for the Cy Hawk Trophy, which Iowa won earlier this year. They play Wisconsin for the Heartland Trophy, and of course they play Minnesota for Floyd of Rosedale. And they've won 10 straight trophy games, trying to do it again. Adam Robinson will give them forward progress to the 23. We send it forward to Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. What's up for grabs here today, the Heartland Trophy. Winner will have it for a few years. They won't play the next 2 seasons. Stanzi on 3rd down, throws incomplete, intended for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, and Niles Brinkley had good coverage. Brinkley's been busy today. An interesting decision here for Kirk Ferentz. With all the struggles of the kicking game, he's still going to send Mike Meyer out there. Be the longest field goal of his brief career. His longest attempt prior to today was 37 yards, and that was his only miss. So this would be a career-long 41-yarder from the left hash mark. He had problems with snaps and holds today. And that's why Coach Ferentz is one of the best in the country. Trust in your players, and they delivered. Good snap by Andrew Schultz, the good hold by Ryan Donahue, and a beautiful kick by Mike Meyer. The lead is 6 for the Hawks. Millions of people watch the family go from ordinary to extraordinary. The adventure's just beginning. Don't miss an all-new episode of the super-powered series, No Ordinary Family, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC. Doesn't look like your ordinary family there either, in the Hawkeye garb. One of the great venues in college football. Two proud programs putting on a great show here today in Iowa City. Iowa with its largest lead of the game now, 6 points, but it could have been more. Credit Wisconsin's defense with a big stand after the Greenwood interception for Iowa gave them the ball at the Wisconsin 26. Right into that field goal. Myers kickoff over the head of Gilreath, and we check in with Heather Cox.
We've been talking all day about the intriguing matchup between Wisconsin's O-line and the Iowa D-line and the strength of each team. Well, right now, Iowa defensive line coach Rick Kaczynski doesn't think they're winning the battle. Before they got that interception, they preached to the line, we're better than this, make plays. Adrian Claiborne finished with a lot of shoulder thumping, trying to fire up his line. We'll see if they accept the challenge here.
Heather, what he's talking about is that run game, because the Wisconsin offensive line has run the football effectively here in the second half against that defensive line of Iowa. Let's see if they can hike their drawers up here and put some stop into it.
.8:35 to go. Tolzien gave it to Clay, and he's pulled down by a true freshman backup linebacker, James Morris, number 44. Statistically, Iowa's done a great job against the Wisconsin rush today. Wisconsin with 86 yards rushing, way below their season average of 233 yards, which was 12th best in the country and second in the Big Ten behind Michigan. The Badgers without their two leading receivers, Lance Kendricks and Nick Toon, without Clay's sidekick James White, without their center Peter Collins. Adrian Claiborne drops Clay at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like Morris was right in the middle of that for the second play. To the true freshman. Did not want to let him get outside. You couldn't do that. And then Claiborne just comes down the side, but good team defense. That's what Heather was talking about with Coach Kaczynski. Five wides.
On 3rd down and 7, bad snap. Tolzien threw it up for grabs, caught by Isaac Anderson. What a play by Tolzien. But they did not get the first down. Got it to the 26, 4 yards short of the markers. And with 7 minutes to go, Brett Bielema will punt.
Sean, remember, this is a different center. Kahns is out. Kahns is out and Nagy's in. And it was a bad snap.
Didn't look like Tolzien was ready for it either. He was gesturing to his left when Nagy snapped it. Nagy does have center experience, but that noise seemed to be a factor. The crowd really turned it up at the right time here, these last two defensive stands for Iowa.
What a great play by Tolzien to get that ball off, man. You're 100% right.
And Norman, it's a fake. Great call and great execution. Not a Hawkeye in sight. And Nortman slid down at the 43-yard line. First down for Brett Bielema and the Badgers. 17-yard gain.
That is just fantastic. Bielema makes the call. But keep your eyes on this. All the backs are turned. They've been doing this all game long. Iowa's been sending just 2 people to the punt on the outside. The middle has been open. This time they take advantage of it for a huge first down.
And Ryan Groy, number 79, is also a fullback leading the way if necessary, but Norman was untouched. John Clay pulls his way out to the 46, a gain of 3 before he was bounced back by James Morris and Sean Prater. But those Wisconsin special teams were a liability at the beginning of the year. Problems on kickoff coverage. And in the last couple of weeks, some big plays for Brett Bielema. The kickoff return to open the game last week for a touchdown that set the tone against Ohio State. And now Nortman. 2nd and 7. Toss sweep for Clay. 2 yards. Micah Hyde held his ground. Tyler Nielsen in on the stop for the Hawkeyes. 2-yard gain, 5 minutes to go. 4th quarter, 6-point lead for Iowa and Wisconsin with a key 3rd down at midfield.
And this is where Iowa can take advantage. They need to be able to get their pass rush. Now, if you're a great player, and this is a big game, this is when Adrian Claiborne has to come up big. And if you're Gabe Karimi, you got to get him blocked.
5 receivers, no backs for Tolzien out of the gun. Hit as he threw, and he got it off for a 1st down. Jacob Pedersen. The backup tight end, ordinarily they play a lot of 2 tight end sets. But he's more of a target now with Kendricks out of the ball game, and that's a 13-yard gain and a key 3rd down conversion.
Well, Claiborne came with an exit, and he came down inside and got a great push. But what a nice throw by Tolzien, under pressure, right on the money.
Claiborne out of the game at the moment. They're going to stick with the spread formation and the shotgun for Tolzien. Ooh, he had some running room if he hit Gilreath in stride. It was just a bit too far ahead of him with Nielsen in coverage but trailing the play, and that is a linebacker on a very speedy wide receiver.
Yeah, and they're playing a zone, and Gilreath is going to run through that zone. And if he catches that, Sean, he's off to the races. And I'll tell you the next thing that's going to happen, sooner or later they're going to run a quarterback draw because the middle of that defense is wide open. When they spread with 5 wides, there's nobody in the middle.
Each yard Wisconsin picks up that blocked extra point that Iowa had knocked down by J.J. Watt earlier in the game looks bigger and bigger. 6-point margin. Tolzien running room to the left. Hyde closed quickly and shoved him down. They're going to spot it at the 34-yard line. And here comes another big 3rd down. 3rd down and 5 again.
You win on 3rd down. Whoever wins 3rd downs generally wins the game.
They've been a terrific 3rd down team, in part because of the great play calling of Paul Chryst. 6 for 11 today, 52% for the year. 3rd and a long 4. Look out from behind. Tolzien stepped up. It got deflected and falls incomplete. Boy, Tolzien had a great sense of the rush coming from behind him. A la Tom Brady, that knack for the one step in the right direction to get clear. Where they knock down his throw. And here's 4th down, and the Badgers will go for it.
And who he was feeling was Adrian Claiborne. And that's the time. That's the time for great players to step up. He did it on 3rd. Let's see what happens on 4th.
Well, they're 2 for 2 on 4th down today, converted on the fake punt a moment ago. Came in 1 for 3. Tolzien throws, caught! 1st down, Wisconsin. Monty Ball, the running back, with a sliding catch at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10.
Now, at one point, you're going to have to. You're taking advantage inside, and this is Nielsen again on the running back. You're going to have to try to get a better cover guy inside because that's a mismatch.
Of course, we talked about injuries. Jeff Tarpini, a key linebacker for Iowa, been out with a neck and shoulder stinger. That's a big loss. Under 3 minutes to go. Play powering straight ahead inside the 20. Tackled by Lance Tillison.
This is where the offensive line has been fantastic. And this is what the Iowa coach Kaczynski was talking about for his defensive line. Now, this is the type of game where you got to buckle it up. They knew that all game long. He said they had to be better than they were. As you heard Heather tell us, that's where they have to be better.
Great mix of the run and pass on this critical drive for Wisconsin. 2nd and 2, trailing by 6. Clay dragging tacklers. He has a 1st down. Mike Daniels Finally got him on the ground, but it's at the 16-yard line. And I think if you're Iowa, Matt, you almost have to start thinking about timeouts here because the clock is much more of a factor for you than it is for Wisconsin. They have all kinds of time. The happy scenario for Brett Bielema here would be score with as little time left as possible. Kick the extra point to win.
Yeah, and it's a precarious position because they still have to score. They need 6.
Ball. The legs churning. He got down to the 8-yard line. Tyler Sash made the tackle. 8-yard run. Under a minute and a half to go. When we talked at the top of the telecast, perhaps the best offensive line in the country against the best defensive line in the country. Those matchups critically important now. 15th play of a memorable drive. 2nd and 2. Ball is the first down. Still fighting. Lunging for the goal line. They're going to mark him just short.
How did Binns come up with the ball? Moffitt with a nice pull. He just follows him around and then just power. Keeps his legs going. They try to strip it out of there. Oh, that's 6.
Could be a touchdown.
That looked like 6.
I think if you're Iowa, you might be better off that it is a touchdown right now and save you a few seconds because it seems to be the inevitable conclusion of this drive. It's going to be a touchdown the way it's going. They announced the previous plays being reviewed. The crowd cheered. I think they think it's a takeaway by the defense. I believe they're looking at it to see if it was a touchdown.
I think Coach Bielema is hoping that it's not a touchdown. He'd like to take more time off the clock.
Although I think with less than a minute to go, you can be guaranteed of the lead right now. You'd have to take it. And
I think
he's
that's
in.
6.
Still up on his feet, nothing touching the ground. Ball across the plane. Great look at it from our producer Bo Garrett, our director Mike Roig, and our terrific crew. Nielsen, Sash, Hyde, all there battling for Iowa.
And Ball just mauling everybody and fighting to get in. That's the best
his
look.
right knee never goes to the ground. The left one's not down. There's nothing down. That should be a touchdown.
Yes.
And we welcome those of you who've been watching Georgia Tech and Clemson. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox in Iowa City for a big Big Ten battle between Wisconsin and Iowa, 2 of the top 15 teams in the country in the initial BCS standings. Iowa leads, at least for the moment, by 6. This play's being reviewed to see if it's a touchdown that would tie the game, and with an extra point, the chance to give Wisconsin the lead. Great effort by Monty Ball. And it's been a long replay review. The ruling on the field was that Ball was down inside the 1-yard line. 58 seconds to go. It's been a back and forth game throughout. This 6-point lead for Iowa is their largest of the game. Each team has led 4 times today.
Following the review, the original runner broke the plane for a touchdown. Clock operator put 1:06 on the game clock. 1:06.
That could be a blessing for Iowa.
I think so, because Wisconsin was marching down the field, chewing up all the time. Now Iowa will have 1:06 left and 3 timeouts, and they'll need a field goal to win the game.
Come on, let's go.
But of course, first a critical extra point from Philip Welch, who's missed only 3 out of 124 in his career. Good snap and hold, and Wisconsin has the lead with 1:06 to go. What a drive for Wisconsin. 15 plays, 80 yards, and the huge play was the big punt that got them 17 and kept them moving. They took 7.5 minutes off the clock. Touchdown. Millions of people watch the family go from ordinary to extraordinary. The adventure just beginning. An all-new episode of No Ordinary Family, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC. This game has gone from extraordinary to unbelievable in recent moments. 2 fourth-down conversions on a 15-play drive for Wisconsin. Ball the touchdown. 7.5 minutes off the clock. And now Iowa trails by 1. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos back for the kickoff from Philip Welch. Difference in the game, a blocked extra point. Johnson-Koulianos stopped at the 25-yard line. Jacob Pedersen, Vanessa Garner in on the stop. So here comes Ricky Stanzi. Now bear in mind the field goal would win it, but they have major kicking questions that have been on display here today. They have a true freshman walk-on kicker in Mike Meyer, who kicked his career long earlier in this game, a 40-yarder. But he did kick a 56-yard field goal in high school. They have 3 timeouts, so they'll be patient. They start with Robinson, who goes out of bounds after an 8-yard gain.
Plenty of time here. Keep in mind, every time they get a first down, they'd stop the clock. Plus, you have your 3 timeouts. So Stanzi can afford to be patient and see the field and take what that defense is giving him. Usually, right now, you're going to give the underneath up, and so he'll need to be patient and take that.
3 receivers, Robinson the back. With Stanzi out of the gun. No rush. An errant throw in the direction of Johnson-Koulianos. Antonio Fidelis had the coverage.
Well, he likes Koulianos, and he'll eyeball him a bunch. It's good discipline underneath coverage. They did a nice job of holding underneath, so they'll have to force a throw over the top. That was Devin Smith, number 10.
He's 8 out of 10 third down passing as a team. They're 10 out of 14 on third downs today. Third down about 1.5 yards. They give it to Robinson, and he has the first down. The clock will stop for a moment to move the chains with 46 seconds and 3 timeouts left for Iowa. Ethan Heamer, Blake Sorensen the tackle. "41-yard field goal. Officially, they called it 40 earlier. The longest attempt of the year by Meyer. There's a run after the catch. Alan Reisner heading to the sideline. Smart move. He doesn't have breakaway speed, so he got as much as he could to the 49 and stopped the clock with a 13-yard gain. Now with 3 timeouts, Matt, they can go to the middle of the field and start using those timeouts.
Absolutely. They need about, if we're basing it off the last field goal of 41 yards, he needs about 25 more yards to be able to get into where Coach thinks he can make it.
Daniel Murray was their kicker last year, but he's had a leg injury.
Plenty of time to throw. Good protection.
It's the 4-man rush, and they put pressure on Stanzi, who's tripped up by J.J. Watt. Back at the 38. You have to use one of your timeouts now, and they do.
So a quiet day the whole game for Watt. And there he comes up with a huge play, Sean.
First sack of the day for Wisconsin. They put very little pressure on Stanzi today. And it looked like they rushed 4 initially and still got to him. It's just a 4-man rush.
And again, it was good protection. That thing came because of the coverage down the field. He had to pull it down. He was going to buy time by getting out to his right. And Watt came up with a big play.
This is a huge game in the Big Ten race. Iowa started the day as one of 2 undefeated teams in conference play with Michigan State. Michigan State rallied from 17-0 down today at Northwestern to win. They're 4-0. Wisconsin was hoping for some help today from Northwestern because their one conference loss was at Michigan State. Michigan State comes here to Iowa next Saturday.
Sean, right now, they don't have to try to get it back all at once. You have time. He's got to get it back in parts. He's got 20 yards to go, 2nd and 21. He's got 3 downs to be able to get this first.
And they're running out of time, and now Wisconsin's going to use its last timeout. Brett Bielema, former walk-on defensive lineman here at Iowa. Became a team captain, coached here. Trying to beat his alma mater for the 3rd time in 5 tries. And right now, that's the biggest play of the game. Didn't seem like much early on. Iowa just scored to make it 6-3 when J.J. Watt blocked the extra point. And then later in the first half, trouble with the snap and hold on a field goal try. Resulted in nothing for Iowa. And that was a relative chip shot, a 31-yard attempt that they never got in the air.
You can still use the whole field, like you talked about earlier, because you're going to take a timeout unless you get out of bounds right now. But it forces you to have to defend the whole field also.
Huge sack a moment ago by J.J. Watt for a loss of 11. Senior quarterback with plenty of experience, Ricky Stanzi from his own 38. Pressured again, steps up into the pocket, throws a little bit high for Johnson Koulianos. They want a flag that they're not going to get.
Nah, there's no flag on that one. A better throw would have been a completion, but he missed him. Koulianos gets down inside. They're sitting in zones. He's trying to widen the safety. A better throw makes that.
He had a hand on him before the ball got there. And you're right. Several times today, Stanzi just a little bit off. Because that ball was there just as Johnson Koulianos was turning. 3rd down and 21. Lots of time to throw this time. Over the middle and caught by Marvin McNutt. He's a yard short of the first down. 20-yard gain. 13 seconds to go. Timeout Iowa. 4th down and 1 upcoming.
That is a heck of a catch.
And now 4th down and 1 upcoming from the 42-yard line. What a catch in traffic by McNutt to keep their hopes alive.
Again, they were playing the zone. He's just going to run right through. He's throwing the ball. Stanzi throws the ball to a spot, and McNutt just goes and gets it.
You saw Kirk Ferentz holding up one finger. He wanted one more second. I would assume the play would be.
You have to have an option here. You can't just give one thing. And so you have to have Stanzi have to be able to use his legs if he has to. But you take the sure throw first. I would think maybe like that sprint right option we saw earlier.
And if you get the first down, the clock's going to stop for a moment to move the chains, but then it's going to go again.
Right.
And you wonder about timeout usage.
Well, it's got to be quick. They've got to get back, and if he has to, he can just stop the ball, clock the ball.
Okay. Stanzi keeps, gets the first down.
Get back up quick.
And that's a good play just to line up quickly and spike it again.
Yeah, he's going to clock it.
Because they're all right in the same positions, essentially. This is great coaching.
What are they doing?
Timeout, Iowa.
Why they call it? That's not good coaching.
That made no sense.
No,
they were all
positioned
set
to spike it.
Yeah, exactly. They were all set. The line was set. The receivers were set. They'd have put the ball down. The umpire would have stepped away. He'd have snapped it, and boom, he'd have lost in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's a big mistake. Just when it looked like they had a great situation to spike it, stop it with 10 seconds perhaps, still have that one timeout in their pocket, throw a pass over the middle, get it a little closer for a field goal, use the timeout. Now they can't go over the middle of the field.
Okay, so now as a defense, now you're going to defend the perimeter. You're going to defend the sidelines, and you're going to force them inside. Generally, a play lasts 5 to 6 seconds. If you can keep them inside, they'd have a chance to run the clock.
Oh, you just wonder why they called that timeout. In a position to spike it. Timeout so much more important than the down that they would have used spiking it. 1st and 10. Stanzi dumps it off. He needs to get out of bounds. Robinson does not. Now they don't have the timeout, and the time is going to run out. Wisconsin wins.
Stanzi needed to know that if he got in trouble, he should throw it out of bounds. Mental error and a coaching error, in my opinion, Sean. I'm with you on that one. That was a poor timeout.
Totally unnecessary. They're positioned to spike it. They could have used the timeout right there when Robinson got tackled in bounds and then take their shot at a field goal of a little bit over 50 yards. He's going to go down near the 35-yard line. Would have been a 52-yarder. He made a longer one than that in high school. Mike Taylor made the critical tackle in bounds. Kirk Ferentz has established himself as one of the best coaches in the country, but I think they'll be kicking themselves for burning that last timeout when the play that they ran to get the 4th down conversion put them in perfect position for a quick spike after the quarterback sneak. And there goes the trophy, the Heartland Trophy, which will stay in Madison for a few years. They snap a 2-game losing streak against Iowa. They won't play the next 2 years, so that trophy will be in Madison for a while. Here's Heather.
Coach, congratulations on the win. What gave you the confidence with the fake punt, 4th and 4, deep in your territory to set up that winning drive?
Well, it's something we saw on film. Looked good all week, and the only thing that scared me, a team ran it on Thursday night and looked pretty good, so I thought they might catch on to it, but I can't say enough about our guys. Really banged up coming in this game. They got a bye week. They've earned it.
Now, a lot of talk this week about Wisconsin being the best O-line against Iowa's best D-line. How did you gain an advantage there?
Well, I didn't see a 31-30 game. I guarantee you that. But give all the credit in the world to Iowa's a great team. Kirk's an unbelievable coach. A lot of respect for over there, but I couldn't be prouder of our guys.
And how emotional is this win, knowing that it came on the field that you played on and you coached on?
You know, I say all the time, it's about our players. It really is. It means a lot for me to come back and drive down Dory Lap back. A lot of great memories, but I'm so happy with the way our guys persevered. It's pretty cool.
Coach, congratulations. Back-to-back great wins. Go enjoy it. Sean?
Their first back-to-back victories over ranked opponents in consecutive weeks since 2004. They've taken down Ohio State and Iowa in back-to-back weeks, and they're right back in the thick of that Big Ten race. Tune in for Saturday Night Football tonight on ABC, 8 Eastern Time. Presented by Southwest Airlines, Oklahoma, and number 11, Missouri. The Sooners, the number 1 team in the country. Final score of this one, Wisconsin 31, Iowa 30. For Matt Millen, Heather Cox, and our entire crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from Iowa City, Iowa.